There's no time.
Lost. Times.
The time is
13.
o'clock.
Hey, here we are once again. Wow, the lighting is weird in here. I guess because
what is up?
Because of the window, I guess.
Oh, you got the little fucking
little what?
Tannis, the little beam of Tannis going on there too.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're gonna be fucking finding the Ark.
Right, I know. Well, I wish that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Finding the Ark of the Covenant.
I'm gonna sell that to a museum somewhere. Not
Yeah.
gonna open it though, because it'll melt my face off. So at least I'm that smart.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the curtain was open. Yeah, I started a stream earlier, but I was getting a little. I guess Tom's thing was still on, and it was like
Sucking down all that data.
it was fucking up my connection, so I had to like start over because he didn't know what time it was.
I didn't know what time it was. The time was wrong. On the clock in the bedroom.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's off by 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh, well, I guess I need to fix that.
Yeah.
Then. I wonder why it's off.
So I walked in here expecting to have 5 minutes, and you're like, "Where are you?"
Like you have 1 minute.
Look at Pookie watching me tie my boot.
It's like, what you
It's
doing?
okay, Pookie. She sees those laces flying around. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get those."
Do you want
You
some
can catch
boots?
'em, huh?
Do you want some boots, Pookie?
Yeah.
Do you want some little bitty kitty boots? That'd be super cute. I bet she wouldn't wear them though. Her little socks.
All right, let's see who's here today. They're all they're all jumping in.
DJ Maniac, fuck all y'all. I was first on the initial one. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be true crime, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Gonna be true crime.
I mean, I've been wanting to do a true crime one for a while. I like doing the other ones too, because the true crime ones are kind of depressing. But the true crime ones are easier for me to do, and I don't know, like a lot more interesting, I guess. And I can't remember who it was, but somebody recommended this case, and I actually didn't know about it. I had never heard of it, even though it is actually, I don't know if it is anymore, but for a long time, and maybe still, the deadliest shooting to ever occur in a private home in American history.
Yeah, I've never even heard of this one.
So,
What year was it again?
1975.
Oh, okay.
1975.
All right.
But, let's see. Zach says, thanks for telling me about that stuff my mom could see in Tampa. I sent it her way. Yeah, he sent me, his mom's visiting Tampa and was asking like some good stuff to go see there.
Okay.
And, I said the aquarium there was my favorite thing. I used to go to that all the time. But they have like some really nice museums and shit. And you can go to Busch Gardens too if you're into that. That's, if you like roller coasters and looking at wild animals and whatnot.
Man.
What?
Trying to get some of this alcohol in the system, man.
I'm kind of like worn out a little bit because like dumbasses, we were watching a bunch of fun movies last night. We watched Prophecy because that's the one we had to review for this week. Yeah, and then we're like, ooh, let's watch the original 50s War of the Worlds, and let's watch the 70s King Kong.
Yeah.
And then we just kept drinking, and then this morning I'm like, man, why did I do that? Now I'm like really sleepy.
I was on Instagram talking to subscribers and shit. If people start sending me messages on Instagram when I'm drunk, oh man, I'll just fucking the whole damn conversations go on. I'm talking about King Kong getting this because we were watching Kong.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, they killed Kong, and he's like, well, of course it's King Kong. He dies. I was like, yeah, that's right. Just
spoiler alert, Tom. Goddamn, no, just kidding. I think I fell asleep before the ape even appeared.
Yeah. We gotta see it again. Actually, I want to do. We didn't do that Kong, did we?
No. We have not. We've done maybe some newer ones, but I think we did Kong Skull Island, like the new one. But we haven't done the 1976 one, which I actually saw in the drive-in.
Yeah, I saw it too.
So,
Kong 76 was okay. You could tell it's a dude in a suit, but,
Well, what are they going to do?
So is Godzilla.
Well, in the new ones, it's like, oh, you can tell it's CGI. Well, I think I'd rather see a dude in a suit than CGI, to be honest with you. A lot of people said that they hadn't heard of this one either. It's really, okay, Danny Rolling Ghostface, this guy is an incel. Yeah, he definitely is. On tonight's show, I recommended this case. Okay, so it was you. I knew it was one of y'all. And, so yeah, this is pretty special.
Elio said,
This
Tom, I'm
shit
starting to listen to Corrine because of you. Those guys are really good. Yeah, we're doing... And Jenny's working on a poster for Corrine.
I just did, I found out today they're playing
Yeah.
in Tampa on March 10th.
Yeah.
So I did all the posters for that show today.
But our Tampa client who employs her asked for, he needed a Corrine poster for that show. I want to go see that show. If not, I'm gonna swing Corrine up in here. I'll bring him to Orlando. I think man, I don't want to fucking fuck up Tom Gold's thing, but
or Mark Paradise.
Mark Paradise. Yeah. He didn't want to really fuck up his thing, but I could get them in. I could swing them in a mannequin.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they're on tour, so I don't know if they have like any dates
maybe.
free. So I don't really know.
Right.
Because I don't think they're playing in Orlando, at least not that I know of.
Be nice to see them local. Maybe bring them down to Will's Pub.
Oh yeah, that would be good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have somebody. I'm on a gear. Sup, Tom and Jenny. Hi. Glad to make it to a live. Been so sick this last week. I missed the sidetracks too. Oh man. I hope you feel better. What is it? Are you like, what kind of illness is it? Anybody seen The Golden Glove on Shudder? So good. You know, I've been meaning to watch that for such a long. Is that the German one, or am I thinking of something else? Yeah. I thought it was German, and I remember seeing it on there a long time. I'm like, man, that sounds really good. I should like totally watch that, and I just never got around to it. There's so many movies on Shudder. I've gotten so behind, you guys. There's so much stuff on Shudder that I got behind on. New movies, old movies. They just added a whole bunch of like old silent films, and they added like 40 something folk horror movies, and they added like a bunch of stuff just recently.
Oscar said I got the pump. No, dude, I don't have the pump. I hadn't worked out in fucking how many days it's been since I've worked out? 3 or 4 days? 3 or 4 days?
I don't remember.
And I'm coming off everything. I gotta fucking reset them receptors. I didn't not taking any of my fucking shit, and coming off cycle and everything. So for a minute there, I was like, oh, I don't feel good. But then
that's what you were saying yesterday.
Yeah, I was getting scared. I felt, you go real bitch mode when those hormones fucking vanish. Your body's like, come on.
Can I make you a T-shirt that says "bitch mode" on it, and then you can wear that, like so?
You're like,
so
wait
I
a
know.
minute. Wait a minute. I'm a girl. Am I a girl? What the fuck is happening?
Oh no!
I'm scared. I'm scared.
Now you know how it feels like to be a girl all the time.
Yeah, that's what it's like, man.
Yes, it is. It's terrifying.
I'm not Superman. Because fucking when you're pumped up on all that fucking synthetic fucking testosterone and everything that looks like testosterone and shit that's better than testosterone, you're damn near fucking superhuman. If you do a blood test, it doesn't come back as a human. Come back as like a fucking racehorse.
Or like Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine. You're not human.
It says
my red blood cell count is like fucking in elite Olympic athlete fucking level. A lot of it. Last time my doctor says, man, you might need to give blood. Your fucking red blood cell count is fucking super high.
We're gonna give your blood to everybody.
Yeah.
And then everybody will
like
be
the blood
will
of
be
Jesus,
super tough.
blood of the Lord. My blood will fucking wash away the soy out of all of your fucking systems. My fucking blood is the HRT. It's the HRT. Yeah. Billionaires are trying to buy my blood so they can do transfusions with me.
Well, you get premium for that shit.
Yeah.
If you're gonna sell it,
Fucking
damn.
right.
You sell it on fucking. Well, you can't sell it on
right.
eBay. That's illegal. But you can sell it on the dark
ain't
web.
gonna
Or
last,
something.
though. I'm gonna go on some other shit. I'm gonna go on some other shit. Keeping it reasonable.
Yeah, I was asking. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Amonagir. I hope I'm pronouncing that right because I said they said they were sick. And not COVID or anything. Okay, yeah, that's what I was worried about. Just had a stomach bug, but feeling a little better tonight. Oh my God, what part of Florida are you guys from again? We're in Central Florida, Eustis specifically. So right around like Orlando type area. Although we're kind of a little bit farther from downtown Orlando now, but Cheryl says Tom as a chick would be weird. It would.
I got pictures of me as a 16-year-old. I look like a chick.
You did kind of.
Yeah.
Well, you look kind of like in that 80s ambisexual kind of like ambiguous sort of way.
I had people said that I looked like
Demi Moore.
Demi Moore. Yeah.
You did kind of.
Yeah. I got pictures to prove it. I got pictures of.
I think I got pictures. Tom looks like Demi Moore.
Yeah, I look like Demi
That's
Moore.
pretty funny.
Well, when I was like 16.
Yeah. Juan Ortiz Velasquez, happy Wednesday, Tom and Jenny. Hey, how are you? We're pretty good, actually. Getting all the work dudes in and out of here, doing the landscaping in the front.
There's me when I was a chick.
That's me when I was a chick. You do kind of look like to me. Look at those eyebrows. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's out of control.
See if I got any other ones.
Fourth row down says Tom's blood will keep Mick Jagger alive for another 100 years.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger wishes that bitch wishes he was me.
How old is that motherfucker now?
About 100.
He's got to be.
Yeah.
At least he just looks 100.
Yeah.
Zach says, just got the mental images of Tom in a tutu with pigtails and a giant swirly lollipop.
Yeah. I didn't stay that way for long. I got another picture of me about like 2 years later. I didn't look like that.
Yeah, somebody asked how old you were. You were 16 then,
About
yeah.
16.
16.
But this is like, I think I was 18 then.
Yeah. Ooh, colored lights.
Yeah.
It's like reflecting.
Can't really fucking...
You're fucking up my focus. You're fucking up my focus. Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, it says, I'm coming to Florida to visit my family in March. I can't wait. I miss Florida so much it hurts. Honestly, the last couple days, it's been really cold. It was really cold here, like, over the weekend. And I was very excited about it. Like, most people weren't, because they're like, no, I have to cover up my plants. All the plants are going to freeze and all that other kind of shit. But I was like, 26 degrees? Holy shit. That never happens. But then today, we had to turn the AC back on.
It got hot again.
It got hot again. I was like, God damn it. Oh, well. Winter's over. It was like 2 fucking days. That's all we got. Yeah. It's honestly, that's pretty much it. I mean, I kind of feel like, no, it could get cold again in February. It's gotten cold like for a night or two in March sometimes, but that's probably all she wrote. Let's see. Where'd all his hair go?
Shaved a lot of it off. Lost some of it.
Yeah.
Juan said, I'm very handsome. Thank you, Juan.
He's very handsome.
Yeah, very handsome.
It says, I want to see young pics of Jenny too, like teeny pics. Haha. I think you said you used to have red hair, Jenny. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a redhead naturally. Yeah. I don't have any. I don't know. I'll have to remember, and I'll do it on the sidetrack show.
Cheryl goes, wow, what a change, Tom. Well, thank you, Cheryl.
Wow, when'd you get so old?
Yeah.
You used to be so cute. I'm just kidding. That sounds like some shit you would say.
Yeah.
What happened? Yeah.
Like, damn. Father Time got you. Sat on your ass, didn't you? Look like shit.
Cheryl says, don't feed Tom's ego. It's a monster.
Most of it's game. It's just part of my game. Just trying to entertain.
Yeah, that's true. Did you have natural dark red hair or bright red? It was actually bright red, like coppery, like an orange red. And it used to be really, really long. Like, it used to be like down in my butt.
You think my eyebrows were big?
Yeah, I also
had big eyebrows.
And the weird thing about it is that my hair, it was naturally like this orangey, coppery red color, and my eyebrows were black.
Yeah.
And so everybody thought that when my hair was red, that I colored it because it was a totally different color than my eyebrows. I'm like, nope, that's just what it looks like. I guess it's because my mom had kind of like more reddish hair and my dad's hair was black. So I guess it just kind of combined. I don't know. Zach says I should let my hair go back to ginger. That color looks great on most people. Honestly, I've thought about it, but I don't. I'm actually been dyeing my hair for so long that I'm scared that if I grow it back out, it's just going to be gray. You know what I mean? Because my mom, she went gray in her 40s. So I'm assuming that my hair is probably also gray.
Elio's asking if we're going to revisit the Satanic Panic. He was listening to an older episode where we mentioned that. Actually, episode 2, I think, was the Satanic Panic.
We redid it though, didn't we?
Times, yeah. We did it a couple times.
Yeah, I thought, like, fairly recent, like, last year sometime, I thought we did a Satanic Panic Revisited. Did we not?
Yeah, we've talked about it several
I thought we had, because I remember putting it in the poll, and, yeah, I'm pretty sure we did it. Like, in 2021 sometime. But, yeah. I just can't remember what we talked about. I think we talked about, like, the McMartin preschool case and all that kind of stuff. Because we did it way back on the second episode, like back in 2016, and that was when we were, for whatever reason, we're trying to keep the show down to an hour, and I was like, so I'm sure we left out like a bunch of stuff. Zach says, hey, you could probably rock gray too, at least it kind of matches the goth look. And actually for a time there was kind of like a trend for sort of like silver hair, you know what I mean? Like a lot of like younger people have like silvery hair, so I don't know how that would look on me, though.
All that shit only looked good on a very young person where you knew it was fake.
Yeah, that's what...
On an older person, you don't even notice it. You're like, damn.
Yeah, you just look like an old person. Yeah, you can only get away with it if the rest of you like look super
It's
youthful.
like these cute fucking 17, 18-year-old girls wearing horn-rimmed glasses and old lady glasses and shit. Put that on an old lady, and then you just go, hey, old lady.
Hey, old lady, what's up?
It's not ironic.
Yeah.
You know? When I was a little kid, old ladies wore those because young girls wore them in the 50s. And those were those people who are all old now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because I was thinking of Jade the Libra, she does all those Halloween stuff, videos. And she, for a long time, her hair was like bright orange. But she usually has it kind of like an ash silvery gray. But she's only 30 something, so she's very, very young looking, so it doesn't come across as looking like an old person's hair, even though it is like silver gray. It looks good on her though, but I liked the bright orange, but I guess that was too much of a pain to maintain. She just had that for Halloween last year. Like for a couple months around Halloween.
Nah, gray is not the goth look. Really what you would do is, if you were going to have any gray, it's better just to go straight white. And
yeah, like an ice white.
Yeah, and to do that to your hair is to invite your hair to fall out. So most girls wear wigs. Another thing is a mixture of black and white in the same wig, like one side red, one side white, and the other side black.
Or black with like white streaks.
Yeah, white streaks going straight. You know, so the entire
like
goth look, including its hair, is artificial. You can't achieve that by natural means, you know what I mean? It's a lot of cosmetics, a lot of trickery, and accessories.
And tomfoolery. And skullduggery.
And, you know, they will fucking sniff out a fake in a heartbeat. The fucking entire goth look starts with footwear. If the fucking shoes or the boots are not correct, then you might as well just don't even try it. It's true.
I know.
It's true. You can take a very just black jeans and the right fucking t-shirt with the right logo on the front of it, and put a pair of fucking badass Demonia boots or New Rocks or something, and you're goth. You take the boots away and you're not goth. You put fucking black dress shoes on there, you're a poser.
Or you just look like a regular ass person.
Like a regular person, right?
It's all in the accessories.
It's all in the accessories.
Zach says, meanwhile, you do not look anywhere near 50, Jenny, so good on you, thank you. I've wanted to dye my hair platinum blonde for a while. I actually bleached mine blonde. I wasn't going to leave it like that. I bleached it blonde before I did the bright red, because I had it bright red for a while. And I kind of liked it. Like, I left it because I didn't want to bleach it all, because I had to bleach it really white, and it was black, so it took, like, several bleachings. So I did it over, like, 2 or 3 days because I didn't want to, like, fry my hair. So I had to, like, bleach it and then, you know, condition it and then leave it, let it rest, and then do it again. So it came out, like, really, really white, and it looked kind of cool.
Yeah, Jenny looks good in blonde hair. Jenny looks good in long hair that's parted in the middle. She has a wig that's brown. Isn't it brown?
No.
I thought it was brown or red. It was parted in the middle.
Well, I have a bunch like that.
You only wore it a couple times. I thought it was brown.
No.
Was it? No, it was black.
Yeah.
It was black. And
why would I have a brown wig?
I don't know. Well, I thought it might have been
hair.
for. Well, you could wear something that was brown. I remember it looked real.
Yeah, I have one that's black and and it like fades into bright blue at the bottom.
Okay.
That one's parted in the middle, and I have one that's purple.
Yeah.
That's like that.
If she puts that wig on where it's parted in the middle, she looks totally different. Totally
Yeah.
different. If you weren't expecting it and you didn't know Jenny very well, you wouldn't recognize her.
Well, when I wore my little red wig, I have like that short red wig. It's not parted in the middle. It's actually kind of parted over the side, and it kind of sweeps over to the side like that, and it's kind of wavy. And I wore that to mannequins one night, and the bartender there like didn't recognize me. It's like he's like, hey, who's that girl that Tom's with? So I thought that was pretty funny because it made my face look completely different.
Yeah.
I've worn it on the show a couple times.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna wear a wig tonight, but then I thought, well, I don't know. I'm kind of sleepy and still a little bit hungover from last night, and I was like, I'll probably get a headache if I wear the wig, so I didn't. But maybe on Friday night I'll wear one.
Shit.
What?
Man, I had a fan on.
Go turn a fan on.
Okay. Look at who's sitting up. Why are you on your back like a damn jelly bean?
Is she?
Yeah.
She lays behind us like this, like on her back, like
on her back.
na na na.
Then I
staring up at
turn
the
around and she's like jumps up like I'm fucking gonna step on her. I've never stepped on you, Pookie.
No, we've never stepped on her.
Yeah.
One time I didn't like kick her, but like my foot went into her one time because she ran under my foot, but I didn't hurt her or nothing. Let me see. Danny Rolling Ghostface says a show about that haunted elementary school number 4, aka the Annie Lytle Elementary School in Jackson, Florida, make a good paranormal show. You know, I've never heard of that case either, but I'm gonna write that shit down because I'm always, like I said, I'm kind of running out of. I don't know if I'm running out of ideas. It's just, it's kind of, we've covered like all the main stuff, and you know, so I'm writing it down right here. Elementary school. And so if anybody has like ideas for shows and shit like that.
Yeah, they're talking about that Cruella de Vil look.
Yeah, that looks cool, I think, like the half black and half white.
Yeah.
I could probably do that. I could be like, look like a scary old lady. Ah!
I'm trying to find who that was that had that wig. Because I'll show them, they're talking about it. And that girl, Granters knows who that girl is. She's from Trenton.
Camp guy. Tip for dads: don't do your teenage daughter's laundry if it has underwear. I changed out some clothes once and thought for a minute I was in a French cat house. Ew, weird. Also, he says, couldn't believe how many pairs of shoes my 25-year-old daughter has. I've never been, I know that, you know, it's such a cliche, like for, oh, girls love shoes and all this other stuff. I'm not really all that into shoes. I mean, I have like a few pairs that are cool and everything, but I'm not one of those people that, you know, you go to the store and you're like, ooh, this shoe, ooh, that shoe. I don't, you know. I have boots. I have a couple pairs of boots and flats, and that's a little pair of tennis shoes, like for walking and stuff. And that's about it. Can't really think of any other ones that I have. So I'm not really all that into shoes. Cheryl says, I tend to dye my hair purple in the summer and bright red in the winter. Ooh, that sounds nice. I was going to do purple for a while too. But, well, I did do purple for a while, didn't I? It wasn't that long, though. I think I liked the red most, but it, you know, it dyed, like, all the shower, like, it turned the shower, inside of the shower red, and all the pillowcases and shit like that, so, you know. And it was too hard to maintain. I had to keep, like, combing dye through it all the time, otherwise it would fade to pink. So I was like, maybe I'll just get a wig. So that's what I did. I have the short red wig, and I have the more natural one that I wore when I was Fright Night Amy, like the red curly one. I have that. I don't usually wear that because I don't know. I don't usually wear that like with a goth outfit though, because I kind of feel like it makes me look like the chick from Brave. You know what I'm saying?
The chick from what?
Brave, that animated movie.
Oh, like the red one?
Yeah, the red curly one.
It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good.
That's kind of like what my real hair color is, actually, that wig. Sort of. Mine was a little more orange than that, like a orangey, like a copper penny. It kind of looked like a bright copper penny is what color my hair was. But I don't know what color it is now, so I'm scared. Cheryl says everything in my house has red hair dye on it. Yeah, it was getting to that.
Yeah, it gets everywhere.
And I was just gonna, I mean, black is like so much easier because it covers up everything, and it actually makes your hair feel pretty nice. Like when I dye it, like it gets really soft and stuff like that for, you know, so it doesn't like strip out your hair. I don't know. It's just easier. And it goes with everything. Because I felt like when I had the bright red hair, I was like, well, now I can't wear like some of the other clothes that I had that had like green, or jewelry or something that had like green or blue or something like that, because it doesn't match, because I'm really anal retentive about matching my colors, you know. But so do you want to get on with the case, or are you still looking for something?
Yeah, just go ahead and get off with it. I forgot what she calls herself on Instagram anyway. We see her every week over at oh man, that's a nice view.
Are you gonna participate in the show, or are you just like gonna fart around on the internet in the background?
Yeah. I'm just you know who that is?
Where do I get wigs? I usually just order them off Amazon, to be honest with you.
There are so many places online you can get that shit.
Yeah, I usually just, I don't remember like the name of the shop or anything, but I just do like a search for, and I try to get ones that are like highly rated.
What was the name of Jenny Jeffries' sister? The one fucking mannequin. She's the one that has all the wigs.
Carrie.
Carrie, that's right. I wonder what her name on Instagram was.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Can't help you.
Okay, I'll find her.
All right, so
I'm gonna show.
Well, I don't really want to start the case, because then then you're gonna find it, and then you know what I mean.
She's not on here under Carrie.
And then it's gonna be like.
See, none of these
distracting.
people use their real names. You got to remember what their names are, what they call themselves. They're always using pseudonyms and shit. They can mask who they are.
I don't. Mine are just mine.
Yeah.
I mean, my Instagram is 13 o'clock, but that's because I just post show shit on there. I don't post like personal shit on there. But all of my other social media is just my name, because I always thought it was dumb. Plus, honestly, I would probably forget.
Yeah.
Like, if I hadn't been on social media for a while, I'm like, what the fuck did I call myself on there? I can barely remember all my fucking passwords.
I can't show it to you, Grant. I was going to show you Jenny Jeffries' little sister. But she doesn't use her real name, so can't get her.
Oh, well. Well, maybe you can
I
find
see
it.
posts from her all the time.
Yeah, you just can't remember what
I just can't remember what she posts under.
Well, like I said, I don't go on Instagram a lot. I just go on there to post
same thing.
stuff.
Same thing on Facebook. She has somehow figured out how to be on there under a fake name. Isn't that weird? Because they're pretty strict with Facebook about who's who, fake profiles. Yeah. But they can get around it somehow.
Well, if you have a name that sort of sounds like a real name, then what are they going to do? Like, say, no, that's not really your name. You got to prove it.
Right.
You know what I mean? As long as you're not,
right, causing trouble.
Tourniquet B ass handle or something like that. I don't know why I thought of that. That was just the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, she had a sister during the time we were in high school. Jenny would show up. Jenny Jeffries, not this Jenny. Jenny would show up in her damn car, and next to her there'd be like this little girl who was probably like 5 or 6, climbing and trying to get out the window and screaming and shit. And that was Carrie. Yeah, it's Carrie. She ended up she's a goth chick here.
Yeah, we see her at Mannequins.
See her all the time.
Yeah. Grandpa said I ran into Jenny J a few years ago. She was DJing at Club Luna in Royal Oak.
Who said that?
Grandpa's Hammer.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
For a long time, she was a photographer for Rolling Stone.
Bless you.
What's that, Pookie?
Pookie sneeze.
Yeah.
It's probably dusty over there. All right.
All right, go ahead.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Are you ready? Let's talk about some true crime. This is a pretty fucking depressing case. Like I said, I had never heard of this, even though it's 11 people. It's a mass murder. Whole family wiped out on Easter Sunday, of all things. So this happened, let's go back to Easter Sunday, which was March 30th, 1975. This is in Hamilton, Ohio, which I think about 30 miles from Cincinnati, I think. So on this particular Easter Sunday, what we have, there's a dude named Leonard, and he has a wife named Alma, and they have 8 children. So Easter Sunday, they go to church like a lot of people do on Easter. Then they go to Alma's mother's house and had kind of like a formal like Easter breakfast brunch thing over there. And then they go to this house at 635 Minor Avenue in Hamilton, which is where Leonard's mother, Charity, lived, along with his younger brother, who was 2 years younger, named James. What ensued on this particular afternoon, in 5 minutes, 11 people including several children, all shot dead by the younger brother, James. So let's break down what the fuck is wrong with this fucking dude. James Ruppert, or Rupert. It's two P's, but I've heard it pronounced both ways. I'm assuming because there's two P's in it that it's Ruppert.
Ruppert. Sounds like Ruppert to me.
Yeah, although I've seen some people pronounce it Rupert, but fuck that. I don't think that's right. If it was Rupert, it would just be one P. And that's all I'm going to say about it. So he's the perp. This is the incel that we were talking about earlier. So he's born in 1934. Now, as a child, I guess he grew up in a household that was very abusive, okay? Now, his mom, Charity, who was, spoiler alert, one of the people that he shot later on in 1975, really she had no compunctions about telling him, she already had the older son, Leonard, who was 2 years old when James was born. She had wanted a daughter, and she had James, and she was a little bitter about it, and apparently was not shy about telling him that at pretty much every opportunity, calling him a mistake to his face. So that's nice. Also, his dad, whose name was also Leonard Sr., was kind of like real violent, and didn't really have much time for his sons. So the family, when they were young, they lived in this big, long, it was almost like a barn, kind of, like their house. Didn't have any plumbing, no running water, nothing like that. His dad raised chickens in the rear of the house. And during this time, James, as a kid, started suffering from asthma. I guess he was maybe allergic to the chicken feathers, and plus, like, just the unclean kind of conditions in the house overall. So he was a very sickly child, and he couldn't really, play any sports or, like, run around playing with the other kids and stuff like that. He kind of walked around, like, hunched over. And, so he couldn't take gym, couldn't play sports, anything like that. Also, he was real small for his age. Like, and he only, even as an adult, he only ended up being, I've heard different things. I've heard everything from 5'4" to 5'6". So he was, smaller than average, and he was quite thin. I think even in his adult, he was only like 135 pounds. So very, very small man. So
that's not that big of a deal, though.
No, I know, but it was just one of many things that like kind of compounded. And like I said, I'm not excusing him by saying this because he did do some horrible ass shit. But this is all kind of like feeding into what happened later on, like maybe like his resentment that he developed or whatever. So that's why I kind of wanted to get into this. So other kids at school, because he was small and didn't play sports, they all thought he was a sissy, obviously. And he was real shy and quiet, introverted, and all the other kids at school teased him. And so he was pretty much a loner, didn't really have any friends or anything, didn't do any extracurricular activities, didn't date any girls, although he did date one later on, and that we'll see how that worked out. He also was, I guess he was impotent, so there was that too, which maybe was probably not physical, it was probably psychological, I'd imagine.
Performance anxiety.
Yeah. So, another thing that his parents would do, his parents, like I said, I'm not excusing, him shooting his mom and stuff, but his parents seemed like they kind of sucked, I will say. What they would do is, I guess Leonard, the older brother, he was obviously, like, way better. Like, he was tall, and he was athletic and popular, he was good at sports, and a lot smarter, I guess, a lot more successful in general. So his parents would just constantly be like, why, your brother Leonard is so much better than you. And it's like, why are you so small? Why are you so lame? Why blah, blah, blah. And so obviously that kind of took a toll as well. So as his childhood went on, he developed this horrible resentment toward Leonard. Now, Leonard, I don't think was... he was 2 years older, the brother, and he did some fucked up shit to his younger brother. And brothers do this kind of shit to each other. Like, I have siblings. I didn't do any horrible shit to my siblings, but, it does happen, particularly among boys that are this close in age. Leonard allegedly would tie his brother up, lock him in closets, beat him with a hose, sit on his head, stuff like that, which is bad, but
if you're laughing, it ain't that bad.
A lot of brothers do that kind of stuff to each other. I'm not saying it's not great.
We used to roughhouse like fucking crazy, me and Wesley.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of boys do rough. Now, I'm not sure if this was way more egregious. I mean, it is kind of fucked up, tying your brother up and locking him in closets. That's kind of fucked up, but you know what I mean. Yeah. What?
I was just laughing. Me and Wesley were fighting one time, and he's laughing. And he fucking ran into his room, and he shut the door and tried to keep me from going in there. And I'm pushing on the door, and there was I had something stuck in the door, so it was a crack. He couldn't close it all the way, and fucking. The next door neighbor was with me. He's my age too, and he handed me some Lysol, and I sprayed the Lysol up through the crack on the door, and it was coming down over the door and falling on Wesley. And he was back there, and he's deaf, so he couldn't hear it. And all of a sudden, it started hitting him, and then all of a sudden, he started busting up laughing because he could see that I'm spraying. I was gassing him out, fucking gassing him out of the room. It was just funny, Shit you do when you're 13,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Grabther's Hammer says, Ohio, that explains it. Driving across Ohio is a miserable experience, void of even the smallest of pleasures. I've never been to Ohio, but I've known some people that grew up there, and they would agree with you. I don't know what's the matter with Ohio, but everybody I know from there couldn't wait to get the fuck out. I don't know. But yeah, so as I said, during their childhood, him getting shit from his parents and then getting shit from his older brother who was constantly picking on him, and then everybody at school constantly picking on him. He didn't do good in school because he was just constantly stressed out, I guess, and kind of sickly. So not a fun childhood for the kid. Okay. Also, his dad would say shit to him like, you'll never amount to anything. You'll never be able to hold a job. You'll never be able to support yourself when you grow up, which, thanks, Dad. There was that, too. And sadly, it was kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, which that's kind of sad. Now, James Ruppert's dad, Leonard Sr., died when James was only 12 years old. He actually died of tuberculosis when he was 36. Isn't that crazy? People still dying of tuberculosis in fucking... I guess it was 1947. 1947, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Well, yeah.
47 is a fucking long time ago. Yeah, people died of all kinds of crazy shit back then.
Yep, tuberculosis.
I think polio was still around in 47.
Yeah, I think that was up until the 50s. Well, because I've heard of some people that are still alive now that had polio when they were younger. Remember we were watching I Shouldn't Be Alive?
Yeah, that dude had polio.
That dude had polio, and he wasn't... I mean, that show was a few years old, but that dude wasn't that old. I mean, maybe he was in his 50s or 60s.
He's dead now.
Maybe.
That dude's probably dead now.
That's
a 15, almost 20-year-old series now, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know when the season was.
He was in his late 60s.
Yeah, it might be older than I thought.
He's dead.
But it was the one where he was out in the Canadian wilderness. He was like a beaver trapper, and he went over a ridge, and his quad flipped over and fell on his legs and pinned him.
Yeah, he was there for 4 or 5 days.
He was there for 4 days.
20 degrees below zero at night. Which I know exactly what that's like. Fucking in Korea, we were getting 40 degrees below zero. And we had sleeping bags at least. Most of the time we were in them. But we were wearing good equipment. We didn't have much on.
It's sad because he had all his equipment, but it was attached to the quad and he couldn't reach it because he was pinned underneath this 1,000-pound thing. And he couldn't... I was watching this whole time going, oh my god. But yeah, that dude had... Yeah, he had polio in one leg, so he had one gimpy leg. And then the other leg got pinned underneath the thing, and they ended up having to amputate it, obviously, because... Yeah,
they amputated his good leg, so he has a wooden leg and a polio leg. He's walking all fucked
I mean,
up.
he still... They told him he wouldn't walk, but he was like, fuck that noise. And he did, so he did walk again.
It happened to him... Luckily, it happened to him way later in life anyway, so... It's not like he had to live his whole life as a young man like that.
Yeah.
There's always a trade-off.
I was watching that going, holy shit, I can't even imagine.
Tell you what, that motherfucker had a will to survive, though.
Well, yeah, because most people would just freeze to death the first fucking night.
I understand it, man. I slept outside many a night in fucking Korean winters with the fucking 506 infantry. Cold, fucking 20 degrees below zero, 40 degrees below zero. insane, mind-numbing cold, and it just fucking wears down the soul. Even of a young man, it just fucking it makes you not want to live. Ugh. I can't imagine that, him being on that ground with his belly on the ground, sucking all that heat out of his fucking belly. Ugh. Man.
No food, no water.
Yeah, and after like a couple days, you'd think, oh, fuck it, I'm going to give up and fall asleep and die. Because that would be the easy way out.
Yeah, and he had to stay awake for 4 days, too.
Yeah,
because he knew he was...
Well, at least in the nighttime.
He was a paramedic. Yeah. So he knew that if he fell asleep, he would die of hypothermia.
Yeah, and I've been in that hypothermic state, too. Fucking hallucinate and everything. And just that seductive feeling of I'm just going to go to sleep, fuck it. And other people are like, no, stay up. Fucking, no, I'm just going to go to sleep, fuck it. Because they know you go to sleep, you'll die.
Yeah. And he knew that,
and
too.
he was in much worse shape than me. Because he was fucking, his body was against the ground.
Yep.
At least half the time we were kind of standing up, keeping boots on the ground. Still, it's sucking the damn heat right out of the bottom of your boots into the ground. You know, it's just terrible.
It is.
It's terrible. You're fucking keeping each other awake at night, trying to get through the guard shift.
Oracle says...
during that fucking... Every year, the fucking North Koreans get pissed that we did that. It's called Team Spirit. Civilians don't know what Team Spirit is. They just know it as the annual mobilization. And they don't do it anymore. But it was famous back in the day. North Korea did not want us to mobilize every year during the winter. That was the perfect time to invade. And we called it Team Spirit. We gave it friendly fucking names. But it was cat and mouse game. We were faking them out like we might. All you had to do is issue out live ammo and you could invade. We weren't going to, but you know, you want them to mirror what you're doing so they spend money on it. That's all you're doing. It's bullshit. But man, we were nearly dying over some of that shit. Some dudes did die. Not my unit, but every now and then, every one of those Team Spirits, a couple guys died. Just accidents and shit.
Oracle says the Salk vaccine for polio was 1955. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was 50 sometime. And then she also says, my mom had a friend who had polio because the vaccine didn't get to her town until after her sisters had died. The friend had been responsible for tending them while sick. Yeah, it's just, yeah, that's fucked up. But yeah, that's just reminded me because we were talking about this dude dying of tuberculosis. But like I said, I guess in 1947 it wasn't all that great.
Yeah, Xanadu says we used to get -40 in Minnesota. One reason I moved. Sucks the life out of you. Yes, sucks the will to live right out of you. If you have to live out in it. We were out in that sometimes 60 days at a time, 45, 50 days at a time. Living outside in it. It's not normal, folks. That's why it turned out like this.
Well, that explains it.
Yeah, it's not normal. It's not normal.
That's why you turned out like this.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That was one factor. There's a bunch of factors.
I was going to say, there's probably like a lot of things that fed into the legend that is Tom at the moment.
Well, it's not just me, it's all my fucking friends. My friend Grok would fucking wake up fucking just out of the middle of nowhere like he was freezing to death, shivering. And he was fucking, it was fucking 60, 70 degrees in the house. You know.
Yikes.
Because after we got out of service, we lived together for a couple years up in Boston. He'd be like, oh, said, dude, wake up. Oh, I thought I was cold. No, you're not cold, man. It's all right. Okay, yeah. Shit went over.
Well, yeah, I mean, shit like sticks with you.
Yeah, stick with it.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear him
I'm sure
talking.
That dude that was on I Shouldn't Be Alive, he probably had fucking nightmares about being trapped under that quad for like fucking years afterward. I'd be very shocked if he didn't.
Yeah. I hear Grok fucking talking to Sergeant Smith and shit.
Oh, and not only that, not only was he stuck under the quad and it was fucking freezing cold, this was in Canada, but the place was also surrounded by coyotes.
Yeah.
That kept coming up trying to eat him. Yeah. So, you know, that's also nice. Oh, and the really shitty thing too was there was a farm only like half a mile away.
He could see it.
He could see it, like the light from it, and he could hear the dogs barking, but they couldn't hear him. How frustrating would that have been?
He was blowing a whistle.
Yeah, he had because he had all the shit. I mean, he had a compass, he had like a fire starter, he had a whistle, he had like a month worth of food and water and all this other stuff, but he couldn't reach any of it. He did have the whistle around his neck though. But yeah, they couldn't hear it because it would love the wind and stuff.
Ford drove down, said to go read that. That's weird. We gotta look into that.
I heard a story yesterday about 2 German soldiers who were trapped in a tunnel complex for 6 years after a bombing raid. Huh.
That wouldn't surprise me. if they were in a military tunnel complex that had a bunch of supplies in it.
Let me look that up.
Yeah, send us some more information. We're gonna look into that. Unless you're bullshitting.
German soldiers stuck in. I mean, I'm sure I can Google it.
If there were supplies and MREs down there, and they got trapped, and there was enough supplies to keep them alive for 6 years, yeah. Maybe they were trying to tunnel out during that time. It's possible. I mean, without vitamin D, without sunlight, you can live decades before it kills you. The North Koreans put people in underground mines for punishment, life sentences in an underground mine. And it takes decades to kill them. And their skin falls off, rashes and shit. They say it's a living hell. Sentenced to death in a mine.
Yeah, that sounds like it would suck a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so the dad, he dies of tuberculosis when James was 12 and his older brother Leonard was 14. After the dad died, the mom would start beating him and making fun of him and stuff, as she'd kind of been doing that the whole time, and also would encourage the older brother to do it too. Leonard Jr., who was 14, he kind of became like the man of the house, right? Oh, my creepy phone's ringing.
Yeah.
He always like turns around like, what is that? It's a horror movie creeping up on you like from behind. And it's like, it's never anybody. It's always like a telemarketer. So I never answer it. But the weird thing is I keep turning the volume down, but it just keeps ringing. I don't understand like why I don't know. It's haunted. But yeah, I do turn the volume down, but it just keeps turning itself back up for whatever reason. So now Leonard, the older brother, is, the head of the household because he's the man of the house, whatever. So he keeps picking on his younger brother, calling him, weak ass, whatever. And as I said, James, even when he grew up, was fairly small. He only weighed 135 pounds, 4 foot, 5'4", somewhere around there, 5'5", something like that. When he was 16, James ran away from home and tried to commit suicide by hanging himself with a sheet.
Yeah.
But did not succeed.
Yeah. If you're this size, people don't take... I'm fucking 5'6", and fucking most of the U.S. Army Rangers that I knew were about that 5'5", 5'6" fucking size. That doesn't mean anything. It's all heart and fucking stamina and fucking training. And the reason why a lot of Rangers were that fucking short is because they're Hispanic. A lot of them came from Central and South America. That's where their families came from. They're short there. I go down to this Mexican restaurant and I'm tall. I'm a head and shoulders taller than a lot of those guys at that damn Mexican store. Little bitty guys from Salvador. It's a Mexican store, but they're from all over Central America. It's all relative height.
It is, yeah.
Central and South America, they're short.
And that's people. Just how tall they are.
That's how tall they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sacrificed all the tall ones to the fucking gods.
It's like, ooh, got a good one.
Yeah,
let's pull his heart out.
But them little motherfuckers, go ahead and fuck with them. Watch what happens. Okay? They cut people's heads off. They fight and shit. MS-13 and all those Mexican cartels that everybody's so terrified of. Those are fucking 5'3", 5'4", 5'5" guys. That's what they look like.
I've never we might have talked about this before, but honestly, I know some women even are kind of weird about she wants the dude to be taller than them, like when she has heels on and shit. I never really noticed how tall people were. I guess because I'm short myself. I'm only 5'3", so most people are taller than me.
Yeah.
So it's like it never really occurred to me that a particular dude was short or whatever. I was like, as long as they're like my height or taller, I'm like, okay, it's all good.
Yeah. And a lot of Central and South American women are tiny. The little Indian women are tiny.
Yeah.
They're 4'10", 4'11". They're little bitty.
Yeah.
So those guys don't feel little around their own women.
Right.
It's the same sexual dimorphism, you know what I mean? The dimorphism, they're different between the sexes. So the men are taller than the women. It's just kind of a uniform thing, even though they're both small.
Yeah. I don't know, it never really occurred to me to get all worried about it. But apparently, I was reading an article yesterday or a couple days ago about this woman who was 6 feet tall, and her husband was 5'5", or maybe 5'4". I can't remember. And she said, you would not believe the fucking shit we get about it.
Yeah.
Like, everybody said, she's like, even when we sent our wedding photo into the newspaper, they were like, can you send us a different photo because it looks like you're way taller than him?
Yeah.
She's like, I am way taller than him, and we're fine with it. What the fuck? It's just like...
As a short guy, man, fucking real tall women were always, for me, easy to get. And it's because, actually, tall women have it much harder than short guys.
Yes.
Much harder.
Yes.
They just
I
can't.
had a friend in school that was 6 feet tall, and she had a miserable
If she's
time.
6 foot tall, she can't get a date. Even 6'1" guys are not really fucking dating those women that tall. They're dating little 5'5", 5'6" girls, you know. So have mercy on them big tall girls. They're good, you know. They're cute. Just you just gotta, you know. They got big ass feet though. Come on. It's like a foot like that.
Well, I mean, you know, some people might be into that.
Yeah.
You need big feet. You need big feet to like support the height. That's what it is.
Dated one from Sweden when I was in high school in Brazil. I was in an international high school, and she fucking had probably like size 12 feet. You know, it was fucking amazing. She was like 6'2".
Damn.
I'm sitting up in her lap and shit. We're at the club. I'm sitting up on her lap and shit. She fucking got her like.
That's awesome.
We just thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't think anything of it. You know.
It's just funny that like
just funny,
like reading that but reading that article I was like, wow, some people even in this supposedly enlightened age, like people are still like giving them people shit about it.
Yeah.
Like cuz she's way taller than I think she was 7 inches taller than him, she said.
No, I mean I've been 5'6" and fucking short my whole life. I never really fucking saw it as a thing. And what's funny is that you'll get guys that are taller than you, and if you more badass than he is, he's gonna say that you're Napoleonic. I said, no, I'm just a man like you. It's my height has nothing to do with the fact how I feel. Yeah, I'm just a badass, and you're not. So you're calling me Napoleonic because I'm shorter than you. But I can still beat your ass. So how is that Napoleonic?
Napoleon wasn't actually.
And Napoleon wasn't short. They made that
he wasn't actually that short. I think he was just average height.
He was tall. He was taller than average. It was just that I think this is off the top of my head. It was a mistranslation between French measurement and English measurement, and the English used it as propaganda. It was something along the lines. The translation is that he was 5 French feet and 2 polagadas tall, and his imperial guard towered above him. But like 5 feet 2 polagadas was like fucking 5'9". Yeah. Which was tall as shit for that time. And they were saying he was tall as shit, and his imperial guards were even taller. Because his imperial guards were like 6-footers, which was very tall in the early 1800s, you know.
When they didn't have all the good nutrition.
He didn't have real good nutrition.
Yeah.
But no, he was a little bit taller than average, so he wasn't short.
Yeah, it's just funny that they call it that because
he wasn't really French; he was Corsican.
Yeah,
but Emperor Bonaparte actually, if you go back and look, he was a good guy. It's just that because we speak English, we inherit a lot of British history and the British slant of history. And Bonaparte was an anti-royalist and was trying to reinstitute a republic like ancient Rome. And the royal people didn't like that. So, of course, they're going to talk bad about him. But he was a good man. He was a good man. He was bizarre. You know, he wanted to be a god in a way.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
No, it was in the Roman tradition during.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm just saying
that emperors were kind of like god men. So he was just being very European, really. That was traditional. You know. He wasn't an American, no. See, Americans would not handle that shit. So. He's not an American, but close. He was close. He was real close to an American.
Would you like to be a god, Tom?
Not in a way.
Sounds like too much work.
Not in the way that Bonaparte wanted to be a god.
I mean, you know, it's just like, nah, no thanks. I don't want the responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm too lazy for that.
And who knows? He probably didn't really want to be a god. It's probably the spin that they fucking are giving us. You know, he crowned himself. They say he crowned himself. He took the crown from the Pope and crowned
Give
himself.
Me that shit. I don't.
You know, because he earned it. Which, okay. he had a French ego. We all know frogs are fucking egotistical bitches. You know what I mean? So, but I
Maybe
respect
he just
it.
liked the angle of the crown a certain way, and he thought the guy would fuck it up.
I respect it. France was coming out of hard times. Okay.
Sorry, I
respect it.
Sorry, I just thought you saying that earlier. I just thought of an MST episode where they were talking about the French, and Crow's like, "Cause the frogs don't listen."
Yeah.
It's like it reminded me of that.
They want to do the shit their own ways. You look at their guns. Every gun they make looks crazy as shit. It works, but it just looks fucked up. Mad pistols and the fucking that damn bullpup that they have. All their guns look fucking crazy. They all look crazy because they got to do it the French way.
Well, you know,
They're like, oh, we can't copy. We got to do it our way.
But that's good. They want to be original.
Yeah,
they're like, we got to do our own shit.
It does work.
That's cool.
But they'll fucking do backflips and bend over backwards to try to get something to work. That when you could just say, well, make it like an AK-47, make it like an M16, it'll be fine. Oh no, oh hell no, we're French. This shit's gonna be French as fuck. Okay, it's gonna look backwards when we're done with it. And that's usually how it does, how it comes out. And it does it works.
I'm into the French. I like their
French do
their
weird
thing.
shit.
Well, honestly, I mean, their cooking is kind of like the center of the culinary world.
Well,
and,
they kind of codified it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Codified it.
Also, I'm a big fan of like French films.
Yeah.
I like how pretentious they are.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
The French were innovators.
Yeah.
They came up with a lot of good shit.
Fourth Rodan says their cars are weird too.
Yeah, the cars are weird too, because they can't bring themselves to be like anybody else.
But
It's
that's
the
cool.
ego.
That's
It's the ego.
well, like I said, that's
Right.
that's the good side of having an ego. Is you're like, well, yeah, but that's already been done. I want to do something different.
Yeah,
We
that's
want to
how
do
they
something
are.
our own way,
Right, yeah. That's how
and
they are.
that's really admirable. I think
Right.
I like that.
Although I've heard French cooks say that, oh, American cooking, oh, it's terrible. I went to McDonald's the other day and I tasted it. It was terrible. And I don't know if that bitch was lying or if she really thinks that McDonald's is American food.
Yeah,
That
that's
is corporate food.
yeah. I mean, I would hope that nowadays,
Yeah.
now that everybody is a foodie in the
Right.
entire world,
You should know
seemingly,
that's not American food.
that's just fast food. We think it's crap too. Like sometimes you get it, like
Yeah, but sometimes you just want the damn Big Mac.
yeah, sometimes you want
Yeah,
that.
sometimes you
Like
want
sometimes
that.
I want a sausage and muffin. God damn it.
Our fast food chains are our versions of a damn vending machine. Would you? Some people will eat out of a vending machine, but it's not traditional American food. It's corporate.
Yeah, and you can't really judge the entire, and you can't judge American food by just one region either,
No.
because
It's a whole bunch.
there's a whole bunch of different regions in the U.S. that have all different dishes.
I've
you
been
know?
learning food from all around the world. The next one I want to conquer is Georgian food. I've heard that the food from Georgia is fucking really good, spicy. It's
Yeah, we
almost
could get
kind of
into
like that's kind of like the Eastern Europeans' version of like Indian food or Cajun food. It's like spicy Russian type food that I want to try. We're gonna see. I'll try to cook some.
DJ Maniac is doing some stuff from Space Mutiny. Bold, big flank, and big McLarge huge. What was the one? Speed squat thrust or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, it's funny. I've seen Mystery Science Theater is like so ingrained in my DNA that pretty much anything that somebody says will remind me of like an MST quote at some point. You know what I mean? Let's see. Okay, so where was I? Hey, wait up, Tom. Didn't you once say in a live stream that you thought you guys did have a ghost there?
Yeah, weird shit happens. It's not really a ghost. It's a fucking poltergeist activity, which is very different. Very, very different.
Yeah, so I don't even think it has anything to do with it because we just moved here to this house like a couple months ago. But it's you though. You're doing it. You're doing it.
Yeah, it's recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis.
Yeah.
It's RSPK.
So it just does it wherever you are.
Right,
It doesn't have
yeah.
anything to do with the house.
I get upset if things go missing and shit, and then they come back.
Well, you've had that happen. You kept
Glasses.
yesterday. You had that happen with your glasses.
Yeah.
He's tearing this house up. Where are my
Look at my
glasses?
glasses.
God damn it! He's like going through my office. It's like you weren't even in here. Your glasses are not in here. And it's like he's like, where the fuck are they? Oh my god! And
Yeah,
he's
that's
like going all over the fucking house. He goes outside. He goes everywhere. And then he comes back in the house like an hour or two later, and the glasses are sitting
On the ground.
in the bathroom.
And I was just walking over that area.
Yeah.
I didn't want anything to do with that shit. I get mad.
Well, that's what happened. Remember that that motorcycle key that you lost for that long time?
Yeah.
And you kept looking at it, and then suddenly
on the ground right there.
And then suddenly Pookie had it in her paws.
Yeah, that was weird.
Like,
that was weird. Yeah.
Look, it just appeared.
Like it appeared out of nowhere. Like, what the fuck?
That was weird. That was
Like
really.
it fell on
that
her.
was really creepy.
It looked like she had just caught it.
Yeah.
Like it had fallen
out of thin air or something.
Yeah, she just got it. What the fuck were you doing with my key? That was my motorcycle key.
Yeah, because it had been missing for like a few days, I think, at that point.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that shit. This shit kind of fucking made my fucking skin crawl.
Yeah. Cheryl said Tom's a ghost.
It's recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis, RSPK.
Yep.
I've had it since I was a kid. I can't control it. It just does it on its own. If I could control it, believe me, I would. I'd be rich. Because I'd steal money right out of a bank.
Well, yeah, that's exactly
That's what I'd do
That's
with
the
it.
first thing that I would do if I could do that
I'd
shit.
have that fucking money teleported
Just
right here.
whoop.
Big
Oh.
stacks of it.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah. Anything I wanted, I'd fucking teleport it right here and have it stacked.
And they couldn't really catch you, could they? I mean...
I say I wasn't in there. They wouldn't have... It would just vanish out of a vault, and they wouldn't have
And
anything
they'd
on
just be-
camera, and they would
Yeah,
just,
so
I
they'd
just
just be like,
found it.
I just found it right here in the middle of my
Yeah, and
bedroom
they'd be
floor.
telling the truth.
Yeah, that would
Found
be
it right
true.
there.
Somebody just must have left it here.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, okay, so where was I? Okay. All right, so we were talking about, we got off talking about how the dude was short and everything. All right, so as time goes on, James's resentment toward his brother Leonard just got worse and worse. And this was compounded by the fact that Leonard was one of those, type A, real successful dudes, whereas James was less so. James failed out of college after 2 years. He did eventually get a job as a draftsman, but it was very on again, off again. Leonard, on the other hand, got a degree in electrical engineering, also a really good athlete, and he ended up working for General Electric, making a whole bunch of money. Also, James had basically like one girlfriend for a time named Alma. Leonard, essentially, I don't know if he stole Alma. That's like a dumb way of putting it, because you can't really steal somebody. I mean, she's not a Ming vase, you know what I mean? It's like she probably went willingly. But Leonard ended up marrying Alma, who was James's ex-girlfriend, and eventually they had 8 kids together. So by the time that this whole situation was coming to a head, James was unemployed and was living in this house with his mom, and he basically was broke. He had some money, but he lost it when the stock market crashed in 1973. And so he'd been borrowing money from his mom and from his brother, so he owed them a whole bunch of money. And, he was living in his mom's house rent-free because he was unemployed. But his mom was getting ready to chuck his ass out because she was basically like, look, because he was starting to get, I don't know if he was an alcoholic, but he would go to his favorite bar, which was called the 19th Hole Cocktail Lounge. And he would go there pretty much every night and like have a few beers. And his mom would say, look, if you can afford to go and drink beers every night, then you can afford to pay some goddamn rent, you bum. I'm going to kick your ass out, because you owe me all this money. So, again, it was not a good situation. I should note... Oh, okay. I should note, too, that another thing, and this might be indicative of some undiagnosed mental illness. So James had a very strong, kind of thing of paranoia. Probably not surprising, given the way he grew up, but he might have also had some kind of mental illness issues that were not recognized. In 1965, matter of fact, the Hamilton Police Department picked him up because they found out that he'd made an obscene phone call to somebody that worked in the public library where he hung out. So they caught him, and he said that he had made the call, but it was because, or I don't think it was because of this, but he seemed to have the idea, even as far back as 1965, that his mom and his brother were trying to discredit him in public by telling everybody that he had made the obscene phone call, and also, coincidentally, reporting to the FBI that he was a homosexual communist. Okay? Which to me, that sounds a little bit like schizophrenia. When you think everybody's out to get you and there's all these plots against you and stuff, this is kind of giving me those kind of vibes. He really did believe that his mother and his brother were conspiring against him and were like fucking up his life and everything. He also thought that the FBI was tapping his phone at his house and at the bar that he hung out at. So he's basically like, and he thought someone was fucking with his car, mostly his brother. So, I guess, like, all of this stuff, like I said, you know, him just, like, resenting his brother, his terrible upbringing, the fact that he was now unemployed, he was drinking a lot, he was paranoid, he thought everybody was out to get him, and his mom was threatening to evict him from the house, which was probably the triggering event, I'm guessing, like, for this incident. So, in the weeks prior to the massacre occurring, James he was a big gun guy. He had 4 guns, and he was always target shooting all the time. So a couple weeks prior to the massacre, he had bought like some new ammunition, and also they remembered later that he had been asking about silencers, suppressors for his firearms, which, you know, I don't think he bought any, but he was asking about them, and they remembered that. So March 29th was James's 41st birthday. Later, witnesses said that they'd seen him shooting at cans with his .357 Magnum along the banks of the Great Miami River in Hamilton, Ohio. He did this quite a lot. He went out target shooting like pretty much every day because, like I said, he didn't have a job. So he would just go out and shoot at cans like along the riverbank. Later that night, he went to his favorite bar, the 19th Hole Cocktail Lounge, and talked to a woman who worked there. His name was Wanda Bishop. Now, she later said James seemed really depressed on this particular night. Like I said, it was his 41st birthday. He told her that his mom was threatening to throw him out of the house because he wasn't paying any rent. And he said to her that he needed to, quote unquote, solve the problem. So he leaves the bar at 11 o'clock that night, and then went somewhere else and then came back. And then the woman asked him, well, did you solve your problem? And he says, no, not yet. He ends up staying at the bar until 2:30 in the morning, which was closing. So now we're at Easter Sunday. So the older brother, Leonard, comes with his wife, Alma, who, as I said, remember, is, oh, bless you, Poke. She's sneezing. You okay? Do you have a little bitty cold or something? She's just sniffling around under there, and I think there's dust. Because there's all wires and stuff. You all right? Seriously. Yeah, so Alma was, again, like James's ex-girlfriend from back in the day. So his brother married his ex-girlfriend and had 8 kids with her, so, you know. So Leonard and Alma come to Charity's house, the mom's house, and brought their 8 kids. They had 8 kids ranging in age from 4 years old, little John, to a 17-year-old. So, you know, they come there. It's Easter. They get to come see their grandma. They'd been to church earlier. They'd been to Alma's mother's house, and then they came over here to do Easter stuff over here. Now, James didn't come down at first. He was still up in his bedroom, still sleeping, because he was presumably hungover from drinking the night before, which no one thought was terribly unusual, because I guess this was something that he did a lot. So the kids go out, and they're having a little egg hunt in the front yard. And then they kind of came inside and were milling around and everything. And Charity was in the kitchen with Alma and Leonard. Charity was in there making sloppy joes for the kids to have for lunch. And the kids were kind of like playing in the living room. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, James finally rolls out of bed and goes downstairs. Now, he's in the kitchen and he's talking to his brother, Leonard, about, you know, just general current event kind of shit, the stock market, politics, whatever. And then he's like watching his, his nephews and nieces as they're doing their egg hunt or whatever. Now, he hangs out with the family a couple of minutes. Then he says, I'm going to go target shooting. Like I said, this was another thing no one thought was unusual. He did it pretty much every day. He goes back upstairs and gets his... Did Pookie get her own fluff up her nose? Probably. You know what she does too? It's like she likes to drink out of the sink. So I leave the sink dripping. Like, she has a water fountain, but for whatever reason, she likes to drink out of the sink. And so I leave it running a little bit. And she'll go in there and she gets all excited. And then she sticks her whole face under there. And then the water goes up her nose. And then she like starts sneezing. It's like super funny. So I'm always like, be careful. But she keeps doing it. So he says he's going target shooting. So he goes back upstairs and gets his guns. He had 3 revolvers. He had a .357 Magnum, 2 .22 caliber handguns, and he had an 18-shot rifle. Then he comes back down to the first floor, and he propped the rifle against the refrigerator. I don't think he actually used that in the massacre. So he's walking through the kitchen. He seemed totally calm, apparently. His brother asked him, apparently sarcastically, "How's your Volkswagen, Jimmy?" Now, remember how I said earlier that James was like really paranoid and thought people were fucking with his life and fucking with his car and stuff? One of his beliefs was that his brother was sabotaging his car. I don't know if he was or not. He very well may have been, but James believed it anyway. He thought that Leonard had destroyed the carburetor and the distributor, had taken off the windshield wipers, loosened the bumper, blown holes in the muffler, just all kind of stuff that he thought that his brother had done to this car. Now, the fact that his brother said that, like I said, this is all kind of from James's point of view, and because everybody else in the house was dead. So, I don't know if the brother actually did ask about the car or if it was just like an innocent question like, hey, how's that car doing or whatever. But James took it like his brother was being sarcastic because he's like, oh, I know that he's been sabotaging my car all this time, and that just proves it right there because he's being like an asshole about it. So apparently this kind of like, again, sort of like a triggering thing, although I don't know, I'll get into that a little bit later because there's kind of some debate over how planned this was or whether it was just like the dude snapped situation. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So James thinks that his brother is mocking him. So he brings up one of his guns and shoots his brother. Now, the weird thing about this, like I said, and I'm not victim blaming, but the weird thing about this is that nobody ran. Maybe they just couldn't believe it. I mean, it happened really, really fast. Basically, there was, in the kitchen, Leonard was in the kitchen, Charity, the mom, was in the kitchen, Alma, his sister-in-law, and I think a couple of the kids. So he basically shot his brother, shot his mom, shot his sister-in-law, and shot the other kids, like, pretty much, really fast. And then, he ended up, like, during this whole massacre, he fired 31 shots, and he did stop to reload at one point. So he shoots Leonard and then Alma and then his mom and then his nephew, David, and 2 of his nieces, Teresa and Carol, who were also in the kitchen. He just went and just pow, 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 and like shot all of them. Then he runs into the living room, killed his little niece, Anne, and his 4 remaining nephews, Leonard III, Michael, Thomas, and John, who was only 4 years old. What he did first, most of the victims were shot 2 times, I think, once in the chest and once in the head. One of the little kids, I think, was only shot in the chest once, but he shot them and they fell, and then he went back and shot them again to make sure they were dead. Which seems very calculated to me.
Yeah, the mass fucking shooting, killing everybody.
Yeah, he killed everybody.
Yeah.
That's basically his entire family just wiped out. Mostly kids, like I said. So, yeah, shot them all in the head or the heart. Whole massacre over. Less than 5 minutes. None of the victims were tied up or restrained. None of them seemed like they tried to run away or struggle or run at him or anything. Probably, like I said, because they were shocked and it happened too fast and they didn't really have time to react. Because why would you expect that? You know what I mean? He was just like this quiet, unassuming dude. And he always went target shooting, so they didn't think it was weird that he had guns because he was just going to go outside. So they didn't think it was strange. And then when it happened, they couldn't believe it. When the, they said the only thing that they found that was disturbed was like an overturned, like garbage can, like waste paper basket. That's it. They did find the body of one of the kids, one of his nieces, and she was, her body was only a foot from the back door. And the back door was like a little bit open. So maybe she had tried to run for the back door, but she didn't make it. Her uncle shot her. So everybody else was just either dead in the kitchen or dead in the living room. And if you look online, there are like, what do you call them? What's that word? Where you have a chart of something?
Map?
A diagram. Why couldn't I think of that word? I'm getting fucking mad cow, you guys. I'm kidding. I can't remember like the most normal words. There's like a diagram of where all the bodies were, because this was not a big house. It was only like, it's still there, like you can still see the house now, but it's only like 1,000 square feet. It had like upstairs and downstairs, and there was like 2 bedrooms. So he shoots his entire fucking family, right? Then he sits around in the house for 3 hours, doing God knows what. I don't know what he was doing. Hanging out in the house for 3 hours. Then he calls the police, and all he says is, "There's been a shooting here." So the cops come, and he was waiting for them. So he didn't like try to run or hide or nothing like that. The cops said the inside of the place looked like a slaughterhouse. There was so much blood splashed around the house that it was actually dripping through the floorboards and dripping through down into the basement. So he said if you went down into the basement, like blood would drip on your head, like because it was leaking through the floorboards. And I believe there are still blood stains in the basement to this fucking day because they couldn't get rid of them. Now, again, this is kind of one of those things where this is the type of dude that absolutely 0 people thought that he was capable of doing something like this. So it seemed like even like other family members, like James's uncle, was like, I don't know why he would do this. It's like him and his brother were so close, and they loved their mom and all this other stuff. And his friends said something like I found some quotes from some of his friends. This one guy named Arthur Bauer, he said, "He's not violent at all. I can't believe he did it. How could anything like that happen?" He had no police record. He had no record of doing anything, really. There was also this woman. This is another thing that I found. This woman who was like a neighbor of theirs and like a family friend. She'd known them for like a really long time. And she was a court stenographer. And she said, when she heard about it, she's like, I don't believe it. Why would he want to do something like that? And even after like everybody told her, it's like, no, he confessed, and obviously nobody else did it or anything, she absolutely refused to believe it. And she actually like would defend him like to people, like, and she she would even like visit him in jail and shit like that. She just would absolutely not believe that he would do something like that, because like I said, he was just like this quiet little unassuming dude, and everyone thought that he was just super nice and super helpful. See, you can never tell. You never tell, which is always the quiet ones, man. You gotta watch them. So, I mean, basically, the town, this is not a big town, so obviously everyone was kind of like, the ones that actually believed that he did it were like, yeah, we're gonna go kill that motherfucker. Now, this is unfortunate. So everybody was so fucking angry at him, rightfully so, that this other guy who lived in the town, whose name was Donald Ruppert, who was absolutely not related to that family in any way whatsoever, he got death threats because people thought that he had something to do with it because he had the same last name, which is fucked up. Don't do that, people. Come on. He's like, yeah, that people would call him, and it's like he had to change his fucking name so people would get the fuck off his case. And like I said, he was totally not related. So he's like, he used to dread every time there was something about the case in the newspaper because it would just start over. Like, people would start calling his house and coming by and shit like that. So James Ruppert gets charged with 11 counts of aggravated homicide. Very, very uncooperative, wouldn't really answer any questions, wouldn't really say why he did it or anything like that. In his first trial, he said that he was going to go for an insanity defense. So the first trial, they held it in Hamilton, Ohio, where the crime took place. Now, his defense attorney, his argument was, well, obviously what he did was insane, you know, and it's like he's been insane for a long time, which, like I said, some of the beliefs he had, especially like the paranoia and stuff where he thought like the FBI was like tapping his phone and like tapping the phone at his bar and stuff like that. That's like some schizophrenia shit. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they had a little bit of a thing there, but to prove insanity, you don't have to prove they have schizophrenia because that doesn't make people go on mass murder sprees. Insanity means you had no idea what you were doing was wrong. That's pretty much the only legal definition of it. So that's kind of what they had to prove. But they were trying to prove that he was insane, that he was psychotic, and that he didn't know what was going on, and that he had some kind of like undiagnosed mental illness.
Yeah, and I will chime in. I don't agree with the legal definition of insanity. I think it's fucking stupid. They got some crazy motherfuckers that know what they're doing is wrong, but they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care that it's wrong. They are still crazy, though. They're fucking crazy. Just that.
But they're just saying that if you know like that it's wrong and you do it anyway, then you should be punished.
That's what it means.
Yeah,
right.
That's all it is.
Right. Yes.
That's why that's really the only distinction they made.
Be called insane.
Yeah.
If you ask me.
But I'm just saying, from a legal standpoint.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, if you did it and you just didn't care, and you knew it was wrong, you didn't care. But like I said, then you shouldn't be put in a mental hospital because there's nothing wrong. I mean,
look at fucking Albert Fish.
Yeah,
he knew what he was doing was wrong and got off on it.
Yeah,
that motherfucker was insane. He was eating little girls. He was also sticking needles up in his taint.
Yeah,
and leaving them in there.
Yeah,
you're crazy.
Yeah, look up that X-ray. It's special.
That motherfucker was crazy.
Well, yeah.
And I'm not saying
obviously.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't have done anything to him. He was insane, and they should have executed his ass, which they did.
Yeah, honestly, I think I think that we have a good legal definition of insanity because, you know, you can do crazy shit like that, which totally is crazy, but he still like had his faculties enough about him to know what he was doing was bad.
I wouldn't call it insane. I wouldn't call it insane. You know what I mean? I would say that they would. Well, this person is not culpable. Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't call it insane. No, they got insane motherfuckers that are crazy and they know what they're doing is bad. They still do it. And they still like it.
And they should absolutely still be
insane and punish that bitch. Yeah. That's the way it should be.
I think the only time that you should be put in a mental facility is if you clearly
don't know what the hell's going on.
Don't know what the like if you did something and you didn't even like things like what? I don't like understand like
or you're totally delusional.
Yeah.
You think the fucking stormtroopers from Star Wars are coming after
you.
You know, then I can understand that. Which or there's something organically wrong with you. Like the clock tower shooter.
Yeah.
Okay. He shot a lot of people from that fucking clock tower up in Texas. He wasn't guilty, he was innocent. He had a fucking brain tumor the size of a fucking golf ball.
Yeah.
All right. He should have been fucking put into a hospital, had the tumor taken out, and they should have kept him under observation for a long time. And if it alleviated his symptoms, they should have released him. That wasn't him. That was that fucking.
I kind of agree with you there. I mean, like I said, I know that because we did a show about Charles Whitman. Yeah. And we were talking about, it's like, I'm sure it doesn't make any of the people that got shot that day feel better. It's like, you know, if I'd got shot that day, I'd be mad
too.
But he couldn't help it. You know what I mean? That was a physical.
He thought people were after him, and he was just crazy, and he knew there was something wrong with him. He went for help, and they didn't help him.
Yeah.
All right.
Because they didn't.
He had a fucking brain tumor. That is an organic problem in your brain, and he couldn't control what he was doing.
I like what you said on that show. You said that was kind of more like an act of nature.
Yeah, it's like a natural disaster.
Like a natural disaster, yeah.
Yeah. Well, shit, having a tumor or getting cancer, that's a natural disaster happening in your body. And if it's happening in your brain, that shit can go outside and cause you to do great. Why would you punish a person for that? He's not responsible for that.
Yeah.
That's a fucking brain tumor.
Yeah.
No, you know, You should treat that person, and if they check out and they go, yeah, man, fucking that wasn't on you, okay? That was that brain tumor. You seem to be okay. We're going to let you go. I'm okay with that. That wasn't him.
Me too.
That's not that dude, you know what I mean?
It's an unusual circumstance.
It's an unusual circumstance.
But yeah, I agree.
There was
with
no
you on that.
malice in what he was doing.
Yeah.
You know, because he's just not rational.
Yeah. But yeah, so... But that's why I find this kind
I
of
think
case...
the reason why they don't do that is because they got motherfuckers who take drugs and do crazy shit. And they want to punish them and get them off the street. They don't care if they were not... Because you could say alcohol did that to you.
Yeah.
It's just that this shit has to happen in certain... Shit has to be reasonable. If you get crazy-ass fucking drunk and kill somebody, you probably can't be trusted in society because you're going to get crazy-ass drunk and kill somebody.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But that's how they have to fucking label
Right.
that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you weren't really responsible for that because you were crazy-ass drunk, but we can't trust you because you get crazy-ass drunk and kill people, so you're getting locked up.
It might happen again.
It might happen again, you're getting locked up.
Yeah.
That they need better legal explanations for what they're doing. That's what I'm saying. The insanity thing it's not a good explanation. Not a good description of what they're doing.
Yeah.
You should be insane and guilty. You know what I mean?
It's like, yeah, you're insane, but you're still going to
You're
prison.
also fucking guilty because you knew.
Right.
Yeah. But the thing is you had to prove that there was some kind of a fucking organic problem. Because when you had Whitman, he didn't choose that.
Yeah.
You have the brain tumor as evidence that he is not choosing how he's acting. Now, if another dude does that and says he's crazy and there's no brain tumor, well, I was mistreated. You can't really prove that. There's no evidence because a lot of people are mistreated and they don't do that.
Yeah.
There has to be hardcore evidence, tumors, brain injuries and shit. But, you know, our legal system is not perfect, you know what I mean? And each state is different.
Well, nothing is. I mean, you kind of have to take everything on a case-by-case basis, honestly.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like...
History has never demonstrated a perfect legal system. Never.
Well, there's no such thing.
No such thing.
I mean, you know, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Everything is just kind of like, we have to cobble things together, you know what I mean? So during this first trial, like I said, they're trying to do the insanity defense. And what they were trying to say, they had like all of these, doctors come out and say, you know, he's psychotic and paranoid, that he was suspicious of everyone. And they leaned really hard on the fact that he thought that the FBI were persecuting him, that for a long time that he thought that his mother and brother were legitimately like fucking up his life, like sabotaging his life. I'm assuming that he thought that his mom and his brother were like making him lose jobs, for example. Like every time something bad happened to him in his life, he blamed them like it's this big conspiracy against them. Which, like I said, that's a mental illness, but I kind of feel like he still knew it was wrong to like shoot the whole family. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it doesn't mitigate it. I'm saying it explains it, but it doesn't excuse it, you know? But one of the doctors said, and this is a quote that I found, his ability to evaluate is impaired. His view of others is warped, which that's true. He sees virtually no one in a kindly light. As I said, you know, that's true, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't know what he was doing was wrong. So they had another psychiatrist that testified for the defense, and he said, this is also a quote, his ego was just completely overwhelmed by this rage. This suppressed rage, which had been accumulating over some 10 years or more, actually since childhood, that there was no way in which he could avoid doing that act. In fact, if there had been more people in the house, they might have been killed also. So they're basically trying to argue that it was just, all of this stuff had just built up, and then he just exploded and didn't, like, know what he was doing. The prosecution, however, obviously had a different take on it. Now, they ended up calling 29 witnesses, and they had 200 exhibits, and they said, no, man, we think what is going on is that this whole massacre was planned, and what James was actually trying to do was he was going to plead insanity so that he could collect $300,000, which was his family's estate, as in like houses they owned, life insurance policies, all that kind of stuff, because he's the only surviving family member, so he would get everybody's shit. $300,000 in 1975 is over $1.5 million today. The dude was unemployed, and was in debt, and he needed money, right? So it seems like maybe that's the reason that he made such a big deal about, I'm going to plead insanity, because obviously you can't inherit money if you murder the family, right? I mean, that seems like a pretty good rule to have. But if he'd been declared insane, put in a mental hospital, and then let out, in Ohio, at least at that time, then he definitely would have inherited eventually all of the money, like from his mom and his brother and their family. So the prosecution argued that maybe that's the little con he was trying to pull, and that's why he was like trying to come off as insane. So I don't really know if you can believe a lot of the stuff that he said too about his upbringing and shit. I mean, there are some like outside witnesses that said about that kind of stuff, like about his paranoia and everything, but he might have been kind of laying it on kind of thick just so he could do an insanity defense so he could get the money eventually. I'm not really sure. But the prosecution, that's what they argued. So basically, so he would have got 2 houses, I guess his mom's house and his brother Leonard's house, just any kind of like other property, like life insurance. They had all kind of different stuff. So like I said, it ended up being like, in today's money, it'd be like $1.5 million. So, just throwing that out there. Now, so what they're trying to do, so the defense, like I said, is trying to say, well, it was just an impulse. He exploded because he wasn't going to do it, but then like his brother like talked to him sideways. His mom was going to evict him and he just snapped. But the jury, I don't even think it was a jury. I think it was a panel of 3 judges. So I didn't even have a jury trial for whatever reason. They didn't really buy it because it really seemed like what one of the doctors for the prosecution said, and this is actually a pretty good point. Like, look, if he had just snapped and wanted to kill his persecutors, then he would have just killed his mom and his brother, who were the people that he thought were persecuting him, and not killed all the children because they didn't have anything to do with it. So that's why he didn't really buy the story, and why he thought, well, he must be trying to inherit the money. That's why he wiped out everybody, because obviously if you left some of the kids alive, then they would have inherited the money and so forth. So it seemed like maybe he was planning this. Now, as I said, this is kind of like a small town.
I made that whole drink for you. You never drank any of it.
Well, because I'm talking.
You're talking too much. You're not drinking.
I'm talking. Well, nobody wants to watch like hours of me just like sitting here drinking.
I got the ice machine running. I got the new high-speed ice machine running, and it's making so much ice. It's not even fucking funny. I love that ice machine.
Like I said, I didn't even know they made like little tabletop little ice makers.
It's
That's
the
pretty
size
awesome.
of a toaster, and it just makes ice.
Yeah. That's all it does.
And it's all automatic. When it fills up with ice, it goes okay, and it shuts up and it just keeps it there. It's like a never-ending ice bucket. You got to pour water in it, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't make magical ice out of like the moisture in the atmosphere. That would be something.
But it has like almost 3/4 of a gallon of water in it, so it makes a lot of ice.
Yeah.
And you can pour more in it as you're going.
But honestly, I'm almost done with the case. So if you want, like, after that, then I can drink and you can talk about it. Then you can fast. Then you can talk about whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, like, it's kind of, I always kind of feel like, oh, there's not enough material and stuff, but honestly, it's much easier for me to keep track of just one case instead of like trying to keep track of like a whole bunch, you know what I mean? Yeah. So this is like kind of a small town, obviously. And everybody was just they said there was a massive the trial was like a massive circus. They had like lines around the block, people trying to get in there. They're like, even after the murders happened, and for months afterward, people in the town would like get in a cab and like go past the house and all this other kind of shit. Then like a year later, they actually put a bunch of the stuff in the house. They unlocked the house and let the public go through there, so we're auctioning everything off. So everybody in town like went in there, were like, ooh, like looking for bloodstains and stuff like that. I'm like, that's kind of fucked up. But yeah, so James Ruppert at the first trial, as I said, the judges, because it was just a 3-panel judge, it wasn't a jury, they did not buy the insanity defense, probably rightly so. So they found him guilty on 11 counts of murder, sentenced him to life in prison, because at the time, because there was a U.S. Supreme Court case going on at the time, so there was like a moratorium on the death penalty from 1972 to 1976 in the U.S. So he couldn't have got the death penalty. So he got life in prison. Now, however, this first trial, they later declared a mistrial. And so then they had to have, like, after an appeal or whatever, so then they had to have a second one. So they moved the second trial to another town, Findlay, Ohio, about 125 miles away, because they thought that James Ruppert wouldn't be able to get a fair trial in his hometown. So he gets a second trial. Now, that started in June of 1975. Now, during this one, the prosecutors actually came forward, and I guess this wasn't in evidence at the first trial. They actually came out with like new stuff about how he'd been doing all this target shooting like prior to the massacre, how he had talked to people at the bar about quote unquote solving his problem. So it made it seem a lot more like he was like planning this at least like a week or two in advance. So at this second trial, he actually got a new sentence of 11 consecutive life sentences. So he was found guilty once again. But then he appealed once again, and he got a new trial. He got a new trial in 1982. Now, his defense attorney was convinced that he was insane, and his defense attorney used his own money to hire a bunch of psychiatrists, like top-of-the-line psychiatrists from all over the place, to fly in and testify on behalf of the defense. And what this ended up doing was that at this third trial, again, they had the 3-judge panel, they still found him guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder, his mom and his brother, but the other murders, they found him not guilty by reason of insanity. And I'm kind of like, I didn't even know you could do that. I kind of thought insanity was sort of like an all or nothing proposition, like at least from a legal standpoint. It seems really weird to be like, well, yeah, those 2, that was first degree murder, but all the other ones, no, that was insanity. I guess they were trying to like hint that, well, maybe he had like a reason for killing his mom and his brother, whether that reason was legitimate or not, but he believed he had a reason. And all the other ones, he didn't really have a reason. So obviously he was crazy when he did that. Which, okay, that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but okay. So he still got 2 counts of first-degree murder, but all the rest of them not guilty by reason of insanity. So he got 1 life sentence for each guilty count consecutive. So what they did was they ended up putting him in essentially like I guess it's like a mental health hospital, like a mental hospital. So it's called Franklin Medical Center. It's in Columbus, Ohio. And that's part of the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction. Motherfucker is still in there. He's still alive. So he's still in there. He actually came up for parole in 1995, but was denied. He came up for parole again in 2015, again denied. He's up for parole again in February 2025, at which point he will be 90 years old.
Damn, he's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Damn.
So they put him in a mental hospital, and he's still fucking in there.
Now, Tammy's asking if our ice maker is a Frigidaire. And yes, it is. I went and checked.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we got it from Sam's. It had three different colors. A black one. It might have had four. But I remember black, silver, and red. Metallic. I got the silver one. It's got a damn fan on the side, an opening for the fan. And it's got a little shovel that scoops the ice out and drops it into the basket. You can take the basket out. You can pour water in the bottom. It's got a little scoop. Sit there and it'll make more ice than we can use. Every time I go in there, there's more ice.
And we
ice.
also have
Yeah.
a little mini fridge that has like a little freezer, and it has little ice.
It has ice in it.
We
too.
have little ice trays in there.
We need to put more in that fridge so it gets colder, because there's not enough in there to retain the cold air. It's got a little thing for you can put cans down the inside of the door. I'm gonna go down there and get a 12-pack of fucking soda.
There you go.
Put that in there. We'll put some stuff in there so it'll stay colder. But it's a good little ice maker. I think it was $90 is what I paid for it.
That's not bad.
No, it's not that,
Where'd you get it, Sam's?
Sam's.
Yeah, that's
$90.
right.
And now, man, I was like, should I get the red one? Because the red one is metallic red.
Yeah, I like
silver
those.
one.
I like those metallic red.
Yeah, it was like metallic red. They had metallic red or silver, and I fucking went, man, I'll just go with the silver. It's more conservative. I should have got the red.
Yeah, I like that they make all of this,
Yeah.
all of the appliances in metallic red now. I'm into it.
Looks good.
I really like that metallic red look. If I ever have to buy another like toaster or coffee pot or anything like that, I'm gonna get like a metallic red one. So I was reading a little bit about.
Okay, Tammy says she has it. Hers is copper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they didn't have the copper ones at Sam's.
Copper would be kind of nice.
Copper
too.
would be good too.
That's pretty.
They may have had it. I didn't see it. I saw a black one, a silver one, and a red one. And the red looked really good.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, the refrigerator's black. And I almost got the black one, but the black one looked kind of plain. And I says, I'll get the silver. It's conservative. Shouldn't have gone conservative. Should have got the red one.
Yeah, always. If there's appliances and they have a red one, always get the red
got a
one.
red one,
Because I really like red appliances.
Yeah, but it'll sit there and you just pour ice in it. It'll go right. You can pour water in it. It'll go right to the ice to the bottom, and it'll fill it up. And it'll just continue to make ice. You're taking ice out and drinking it. It's not big, you know what I mean? It's the size of a large toaster. It's a good idea. It's got a little fucking clear plastic lid on top of it. Buttons tell you small ice cubes or big ice cubes. On, off. If it fills up with ice, it turns red. If it runs out of water, it turns red. I'll tell you.
But yeah, so I was reading a little bit about sort of like the psychology behind these types of family killers. I guess, what are they called? Family annihilators, whatever it is they call them. And interestingly, I don't think we ever did a show about John List, did we? That dude that killed his whole family and then just laid them all out all nice and like left him in the house and took off.
No, it's a good story. We saw that on. We saw a whole fucking show on his case. A family annihilator.
Yeah.
They got dudes that have so much fucking. They're so uptight. They hold themselves to such a high standard that if they lose their job, they decide they have to kill their family.
Yeah.
It's almost like some ultra Japanese type thing. I have failed. So, but they kill the family because they don't want them to suffer the damn. I guess they don't want to suffer the dishonor.
The indignity.
But half of them don't kill themselves. They just run off.
Right.
And try to start over.
Which, yeah.
That's some weird
well,
shit.
I don't want you to suffer indignity. You can suffer death, though.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks.
they'll never know. That's what he's thinking, you know. And then he goes and he starts over. And the motherfuckers get a new wife and try to start a new family.
But you would never know. That's like really scary.
Yeah, but it's not because he wants to kill the family. He does not want to lose.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't want to be seen as a failure in front of his family. That's what I really think it is. Like, well, I can't raise them up to the right standard, so I have to kill them.
Yeah.
That's some weird shit.
This dude, I was reading something that like a psychiatrist was talking about these family annihilators. And usually, he says, they're seen as gentle and passive on the outside, but they tend to harbor so much hostility toward their family members But as long as they're getting something out of the relationship, whether it's money or affection or whatever, then everything's fine. Like, it stays on an even keel. But if something disrupts that, like somebody wants a divorce or somebody loses a job or there's some kind of stress, then it will usually like push them over the edge, and all that resentment will come out like in one big thing. I do kind of feel like in this case, James Ruppert, he had some of that too, but I kind of feel like he was more... One, he seemed to have deep-seated feelings of paranoia, deep-seated feelings of all of his failures were caused by his family, which, like I said, I'm not really sure how much of that is true because a lot of it is filtered through what he said, like what he told psychiatrists later. So I don't know if he exaggerated at some point. Maybe his parents did suck a lot. Maybe his brother did suck a lot. Maybe they did pick on him. Maybe, you know, maybe all of that was true, but it does seem like when it got to a point, like in his late teenage years, in his 20s and stuff, I do kind of feel like he had built up this whole thing of resentment toward his brother in particular, that his brother was like always better than him. It's like his brother took his girlfriend and married her and had kids with her. His brother had like a really good job and was really successful and had a nice house and all this other stuff. And he was just like some schlub that couldn't hold a job and just like hung out at a bar every night and felt like a failure like pretty much his whole life, it seems like. So I don't know. He didn't really seem to have much of a chance, I guess. He was very small, he was very sickly, and he got picked on because of that, and then it was just like compounded. But like I said, not excusing it, I'm just trying to like figure out where his head was at. And I think that the triggering incident, if indeed it was that, was his mom saying, I'm going to evict you because if you can afford to go to the bar and drink every night, then you can afford to pay some fucking rent. And he thought that he was going to lose his house and he's going to be homeless, I guess. And maybe that like made him flip out. But see, I don't think that he did necessarily flip out. I think that it was a lot more calculated. I tend to agree with the prosecution on this one at his trial, who thought that he was planning this and deliberately wiped out the entire family and then tried to like say he was crazy so that he could get all the money. I think that's kind of what was going on in his head, I have to say. So somebody said the house is haunted as well. Yeah, I was going to get into that in a second. So this house in Ohio on Minor Avenue, still there. And a year after the murders, they rented the house out to a family who was not from around there. Amityville Horror time. Yeah, because they didn't know what had happened. Because, you know, they didn't have the internet back then. So 1976, a family moves in, and apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, you know, they didn't know what had happened, or they said they didn't. They were only in the house for a very, very short time, and then moved the fuck out. Again, like the Amityville Horror. So when they were asked, well, why'd you move out so fast? They said, we heard voices in the house and a bunch of like weird noises, like banging and shit like that, and we didn't know what it was. They thought the shit was haunted. Lights going on and off, door slamming, footsteps, all that kind of stuff, and they were not having it. So they moved out. So apparently, over the years, there were some more families that moved in, whether they knew that it was, you know, a mass murder house or not. You know, some of them also reported some of the same stuff, that the house was haunted, and they never stayed very long. Then the house was abandoned for quite a while, but then the house was bought by another family. Now, this might be because I saw like a little bit of a news report, and I don't know if they still live there now, but I think this news report was like a year or two old. The Baker family, and they moved in, and apparently they have had no problems. They said really the only problem, they said it's not that big a deal, but everybody kind of knows this house, like it's sort of notorious in this town. So they're like, right around Halloween, you always get like kids, you know, driving by, or people coming up knocking on the door, or like if they see you outside, they're like, hey, did you know like 11 people got murdered in here? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like they have like looky-loos that come and, you know, check out the house and drive past it all the time. But they said it's not that bad, so it's not that big a deal. But they said they haven't had any problems. But apparently before this, a bunch of families moved in and out because they said that like spooky shit was going on there, like haunted stuff. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just what people said. So that's pretty much the end of the case. So if you guys want to talk about something else, because shit, man,
We can do it.
we haven't even only done we haven't even gone to 2 hours yet.
Oh, it's good. So it's a good show. This is a tight show, Jenny. This is how I like them. I'm almost sitting over here and I'm looking at Pookie Pants. Look at Pookie Pants.
What's she doing?
Sleeping in the chair.
Is she sleeping in the chair?
Yeah, with her little feet. What you doing, Poke?
Oh, she's like sitting up,
She's
going.
looking, yeah, we're looking at. She's like, don't bother me. I'm just leaving. They're in there talking about well water and everything like that. I guess I don't know if it had anything to do with making ice cubes or whatever, but I filter all the water here, and it doesn't matter if you're on well water. She said, "Well, I had to use bottled water." You don't need bottled water either. This is what you do.
We have a Brita.
Yeah, this is what you do. I got two different filters. First thing to do is go down there and get you like 2 or 3 plastic 1-gallon pitchers that have tops on them. You want 2 or 3 of them. And then if you have any more big containers, you want that too. Like I'll save big plastic containers for fucking things, okay? You should just do that automatically. Get you a big Brita water filter. It's like a pitcher. And every time I'm fucking turning the tap on, I'm filtering water. Now some of that filtered water I'll pour into a pitcher. So I got pitchers of filtered water. In this refrigerator up here, I got always got a gallon of filtered water in a pitcher, and I'm pouring that into the ice maker. Okay. I also have pitchers of fucking filtered water that I use for like cooking. Like if I need water, you don't fucking get water out of the tap to boil pasta or whatever. You get it out of a pitcher. Now another thing that I use to filter water with is fucking I ordered something from Brazil. Growing up in Brazil, we had these fucking water filters and they were made out of clay, fired clay. There's 2 parts. There's a bottom part and a top part. And you set the fucking top part on it and it's got a filter, and the filter's like a piece of porcelain that you screw in. And it fucking, man, that thing can filter thousands of gallons of water.
It keeps it cool too.
It keeps, yeah, and because it goes through the fired clay, it's always wet on the outside, and there's like a heat exchange thing going on. Whenever you get water out of there, and it'll hold like almost 2 gallons in the bottom part of it, filtered, and there's a valve. So as you're taking filtered water out, it's opening the valve, and the unfiltered water is going through the filter. It's 2-part filter. I imported that from Brazil. I think it cost about $100-something for that.
It's nice. It's very large.
It's very big, and it's sitting up,
It's up on the bar.
on top of the counter right there near the damn faucet. And I could pull the faucet out, and it's on a damn, it's on a damn hose. You can pull the faucet fixture out, and it's on a big flexible head, and I can fill it up directly, right there by the sink. And there's a room where I can put a pitcher underneath there and open the valve and fill the whole 1-gallon pitcher. And so, as long as you're timing everything right, you should always have filtered water around. And that's what you make your ice cubes out of with these little ice machines and shit.
And
That's
we
what
have
you cook with.
and the fridge has
its own
filter in the
Has
door
its
too.
own
Like it has the ice and the water.
Yeah.
Like we have one like that.
Yeah,
too.
our refrigerator has its own ice machine, and it has.
Because
its
that's
own
where
filter.
I get the filtered water
It has
from. I
its
just
own
filter it
filter.
out of there.
Right.
Sorry, I was laughing at what Cheryl said. Sometimes I drink water to surprise my liver. Honestly, all I ever drink is water, coffee, and
Yeah.
booze.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of soda or anything sometimes.
but filtering water should be a mass production exercise. You should have whole pitchers of filtered water that you're putting aside. Every time you go into the kitchen, fucking throw it in the Brita or fucking pull it out of the damn São João. São João in Portuguese means St. John. St. John water filter. SAO with a little fucking, I don't know what it's called. Not a crase. It's not a chapeuzinho. I forgot what it's called.
In Spanish, I thought that was called a tilde.
Yeah, a little thing of São means Saint. São João. All right, St. John. You can get that. You can order them online. The Brazilians make the best ones. Now I know we do have some Central and South American subscribers. They might have some down in Salvador, and Chile and fucking Argentina. They might have stuff like that too. But I know the Brazilian ones. I had good luck with the Brazilian ones. And they're made out of fired clay. They're brown. And whenever they're filled up with water, they're constantly sweating on the outside of the clay. And it helps to cool it. So when it comes out of there, it's cooler than room temperature when it comes out. But You can also have like almost a gallon and a half in the bottom part of already filtered. You could fill up a whole pitcher. And out of that pitcher, you can use it all day. Just keep filtering. It's just part of your routine. But, you know, I'm experienced with kitchen stuff, so I just think that way. Always planning ahead. Saving containers. If I see a badass glass jar, I'm going to say, man, I'm going to make that. I'm going to take all the labels off that glass jar. I'm going to turn it into something else.
I'm going to drink tequila out of that.
Yeah, I'll drink tequila. Or make it store spices in it.
Yeah.
Like at Publix, we have like there's a line of premium spices. They come in a square glass jar, square, and it's got a nice little neck on it, and it's got clear labels on the front and the back. If you pull those labels off and then take some kerosene or lighter fluid, it'll take the glue off, and then because it's sticky glue, you take it off with kerosene or lighter fluid, and then put it in the dishwasher. When it comes out, it's a perfect, beautiful square jar, tall. And I put Indian spices that I buy at the Indian spice store and label them, repurpose things, Next thing I got coming is a bunch of mason jars with the rubber gaskets for canning and jarring things and making preserves. So I'm gonna get off into that, making preserves, that old school skills. You could take whole chicken. You could take chicken legs, chicken wings, chicken thighs, and put them down in a jar with some pieces of onion or some carrots or whatever, some salt and a little bit of vinegar, and some spices. Screw the top on there, put it into boiling water for the right amount of time at the right temperature, and it'll cook it and vacuum pack it inside that jar, and it'll stay in there preserved for a year. For a year. When it comes out, it's cooked. They say it's delicious, and then you can do them Russian style or Mexican style or Central American style, depending on whatever spice profile you're going for. Make your own MREs.
They asked if we like Patron.
Patron's great. I like Patron. Patron Silver, Reposado's
I'm not into tequila.
She's not tequila.
I don't like tequila. I'm a vodka, gin, and whiskey girl.
I'm drinking tequila right now. I'm drinking Sam's Silver Tequila, which is $20 for a fifth, and it tastes just like Milagro Silver. It tastes like Patron Silver too. Really good.
Sam's has got some good liquor. Their whiskey sucks.
Their whiskey sucks.
Their whiskey's terrible. But all their other booze is good.
All their other shit's really good. Of course,
I don't think I've tried their gin, actually.
It's good.
I don't usually have gin in the house. I like gin.
Yeah.
But gin, if I drink like 2 or 3 drinks of it, I will throw up. Yeah. That's pretty much the only liquor that will do that. It's just too acidic with my stomach.
Sam's has everything, they are pretty much, they have name brands and everything, but they have their own brands.
Yeah.
And their own brands are good.
And cheap.
They're cheap. And they come in nice bottles and everything.
Yeah, the vodka we get there, it's $12.99 for a big ass. It's a big bottle.
And I can't tell that from Grey Goose. I think it is Grey Goose.
It might be. Yeah, it doesn't taste anything different than any other, mid-range than Sky. It tastes the same as Sky.
Grey Goose, around like that.
With Sky is $21.99, something like that, for a similar size bottle.
Yeah, it's almost half the price.
Yeah, so it's like half the price of that, and it tastes exactly the same.
Sam's Silver Tequila tastes just like Milagro Silver, or Patron Silver, just like it. Can't tell it apart. Good quality. Now, Sam's fucking whiskey, terrible. Wouldn't fuck with it. Really
we got it one time, like, to try it out, and it's like, and I like whiskey, and I even like cheap whiskey. I like Jack Daniels, as much as the next person, but man, that tasted like licking the bottom of an old barbecue grill.
Terrible.
It was awful.
It had a very artificial flavor to it.
Yeah, it tasted like drinking liquid smoke.
Yeah.
Is what it tasted like.
Yeah, bad.
And I was just like, ugh.
They had a real good rum. Sam's got great rum and a great spiced rum. You take that spiced rum, heat it up, and then drop some fucking apple juice in it, and heat that up too. Fucking put it in a coffee mug. Man, that shit is so beautiful. Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Wintertime.
Hot apple spiced rum. Wintertime drink. It's beautiful.
We should maybe get some of that before it gets warm again.
We can do that.
Although I guess it's kind of late now. No, it might still get cold. It's only February.
Yeah.
I'm getting my hopes up. I was so excited when it like
Hot rum and apple
when it froze
cider.
last weekend. I was like, woo!
Yeah.
I got an email from my mom in Ocala, and she was like, "It's gonna snow."
Yeah.
I don't know if it did though. It wouldn't have snowed here because the precipitation was like 0. So it was cold, but it was like really dry.
Cheryl said tequila's really expensive in Canada. Yeah, it probably is. It's expensive here.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, it's expensive here.
I mean, the Sam's one, like you said, it's what is it, 20
$20 for a fifth.
for the yeah. Whereas the vodka
Yeah.
at Sam's is like literally $12.99
Yeah.
for a big ass bottle.
Yeah.
But you know, I like vodka because it doesn't have much of a taste of its own, so you can mix it with anything. So, you know, sometimes we don't have orange juice, or sometimes we don't have, you know what I mean? So it's nice to just, oh, we can just make some lemonade or make some iced tea, and it'll taste good with vodka.
That's Sam's fucking silver.
And that's
tequila.
$20 or $21.99?
$21.
$21.99.
Man, that shit's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's just that Sam's, we don't usually go to Sam's unless we're doing like a big...
It's kind of far from here.
It's kind of far from here.
Yeah.
So we only go there like once every 2 months or something. So, I mean, because we're doing like a big load because it's far. So you figure if you're going to go that far. So, I mean, we just have a liquor store like right up the street, like next to the Publix. So we usually just go there and get liquor. It's like a little bit more expensive, but whatever. I usually just buy, they don't have the cheap vodka there. Well, they do have cheap vodka, but it tastes like paint thinner. So usually if I go to that one, I'll just get Pinnacle, which is the cheaper one, or Sky. You know, Sky is like $22, something like that, for like a big ass bottle. Tom, somebody asked what BTK would think of this James Ruppert character. I'm gonna have to ask him when he comes back. I don't know where he went to. Janet says, when I was a kid, we canned all our meats. I've really gotten into, I think I said this on the Sidetrack show, I've really gotten into, I don't know why, lately, there's a whole like sub-genre of YouTube videos that are people that do these extreme grocery hauls. It's like, we're gonna make one whole week of meals for like $10. And I've gotten like really, really into those. I don't know why. They're just like, there's something that's like fascinating about them to me. Because I was telling Tom about it. I'm like, there's a bunch of different ones. There's like a bunch of different ladies that do it. And I'm just like fascinated by, and usually they'll go to like different stores. They go to like Aldi or Dollar Tree. I like the Dollar Tree ones the best because who knew that you could actually like make decent food like just from shit you buy at Dollar Tree. But they absolutely do. And I'm just kind of like, man, you go. All right. Somebody asked what BTK would think of this James Ruppert person, the guy that we've been talking about for the whole
I
show.
understand, you know, no style, and I don't know why he killed his own family. I mean, a man's supposed to be, you know, supportive of his own family. That's how the community holds together, and I just don't understand it.
I kind of figured that like Dennis, because he didn't kill his own family, honestly.
No,
and
Dennis would never kill his own.
I don't think that would have even occurred to him.
I don't understand it. I mean, why would you do that? You have to understand that Dennis was upstanding. He was an upstanding man.
He's like, why kill your own family when there's so many strangers you could kill? I kind of feel, you know, it sounds cynical, but I kind of feel like that's probably what he thought. It's like, look at all these other strangers that don't matter to us in the slightest, and that we could just like get off on killing them. Why kill your own family? Go outside the home. That's fucked up. But I guess that's like how they think though. Seriously, I'm gonna recommend again that fucking book about BTK. Well, Confessions of a Serial Killer, they made that into a documentary, did they not? Like somebody told me. I didn't know they made it into a documentary. I read the book because Sophie sent it to me. And BTK, man, what the fuck? What the fuck? I'm like reading it. The book like legitimately had to have sort of like a glossary type situation in the front because of all the weird terminology that he used for all of his weird fantasies and his weird plans. And I mean, it was just fucking bizarro. But it's in a way like it kind of like bummed me out, but then reading it I was kind of like, well, I guess I feel better because I guess I'm not like this, so that should make me feel better, because I'm like, the fact that I think this is bizarre and horrifying. Yeah, Janet says, when I was a kid, we canned all our meats. Yeah, so I've really gotten into, because I was telling you about this the other day, I'm this whole like subset of YouTube videos that are all people that try to do these extreme grocery hauls, like try to make, and it's actually pretty cool because some people that don't have a lot of money to like spend on groceries, so they give you like a lot of ideas. It's like, hey, look, you can go to Dollar Tree or Aldi or something like that and just spend $10 and you can eat a whole week on what you buy there, depending on what you buy.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. So they show like how different ingredients, like something generic like flour or corn tortillas or something like that, how you can use it across multiple dishes like in different ways. And you know, it's not, they don't have to do like a lot of cooking, but they kind of like use everything. Like they'll buy, you know, they'll go to Walmart and buy like one chicken, and then they'll make like 3 things out of that. It's like, look, we'll take the legs and we'll do like fried chicken, and then we'll take this part and we'll do baked chicken, and then we'll take the carcass and we'll make broth out of it, or we'll cream and chicken soup or whatever. So they make like a bunch of different things with each ingredient, which I'm like fascinated by that.
As I've said before, having a background, of course, in the culinary arts, worked some fucking great chefs in some great restaurants, not corporate restaurants, fucking privately owned restaurants from dudes that were fucking really good. The challenge is not to take a fantastic fucking component and make that good. Cooking isn't like that, because if you have a fantastic component, you don't do much to it, like a filet mignon.
Yeah, you don't,
because it speaks for itself.
Right. It's just good on its own.
The challenge is to take something that's not really kind of coveted, something that's kind of bottom of the barrel. You take that and you turn it into something that's appetizing and make profit on it. Now, we're usually talking about, in restaurants, cuts of meat that are not real choice. Things like ham hocks. You know, ham hocks, fucking, that's very low on the hog. Fucking, you know, fucking, the face that, you know, you pull the face off a pig, okay, and the tongue off a pig, and make Brazilian feijoada. All right, but which is great. That's beans and rice, but it's got to have
pig face and
tongue.
That's a band.
Just things that fucking you wouldn't normally be eating. Okay, so poor people food. That is the actual challenge.
Thank you, Janet.
What did Janet say?
Have a drink on me, you two.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's $25. Thank you, Janet.
Yes, that is. Hey, Victor just showed up. You missed the case. We did talk about the case.
Go ahead and check off.
Now,
too late.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Now we're essentially like doing a sidetrack show.
Because, we're on a sidetrack.
Because the case that I did was like only took 2 hours.
That's good though.
That's okay.
So, no, the real challenge with cooking is to take things that are not choice cuts and not choice components and turn them into something that is fucking great. One of the examples that I like to use a lot was when I was a kid, a chicken wing was worth nothing. You could go to a store and get chicken wings for fucking nothing. They were giving them away. Somebody saw that. Somebody in Buffalo, New York saw that and went, man, I can take that and turn that into something. So they fried them like fucking fried chicken, and then tossed them in a 50-50 mixture of fucking melted butter and fucking hot sauce, Tabasco hot sauce, and served them with a side of fucking blue cheese dressing.
And some celery sticks.
And called them Buffalo chicken wings. Chicken wings from Buffalo.
And everybody's like, oh my God, why didn't we ever think of this?
They're fucking great, right? Well, the price of fucking chicken wings went up astronomically. All of a sudden, they turned a piece of shit piece of the chicken into a delicacy. Okay. I don't know exactly who made the buffalo chicken wing, but
Probably
he
on Wikipedia.
achieved the mission, which is to take something that wasn't worth anything and turn it into something real popular. That's how it's done.
That's what I was saying on the sidetrack show. Right. That's why I'm really into shows like Chopped or like the new Gordon Ramsay show, like Next Level Chef, where they have like some of them have to cook in the basement, where they just have to cook with like just whatever's left over and not very good equipment. And it's like, if you can make something good from that, then obviously you're a way better chef than somebody that can just make stuff out of expensive stuff.
I was living in fucking Pass Christiana with my first wife, and we went down to This is in Pass Christian, Mississippi. Went down to fucking Walmart, and I said, I want to get the shit to make some chicken wings. I want to make some chicken wings. And I looked at the price per pound of chicken wings at Walmart versus the price per pound of fucking chicken legs. And chicken legs were cheaper than chicken wings.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to make them, but I'm going to make them with chicken legs. Did the same thing you would do with a chicken wing, but I made it with legs. And I called them dinosaur wings. Because you got chicken wings and dinosaur wings. Even bigger than a chicken.
I mean, chicken legs, I like them better anyway. There's a lot more meat on there.
There's more meat on it.
So, you know.
But for a while there, at least in that period, you could get legs cheaper than wings per pound. So.
Do you remember that one time when Sam's had a sale on those little bitty Cornish hens?
Yeah, you could get those things for fucking, and they were cheap as shit. You get a bunch.
And
of
we
them.
made them. Man, those were delicious.
Yeah,
we should
really
do
good.
that again one of these days. They were just like on sale. I don't remember how much they were, but there was like 4. Was there 4 of them?
I don't remember. Yeah,
in the pack? I think it was 4.
Yeah, you could just feast on them. They didn't even want much more. They didn't want much money for them. It was late '90s when that shit was going down. Another thing that happened in the late '90s was boxed wine. Wine that came in boxes that they were selling that shit at Walmart for nothing. And we would sit around just drink
that's still a thing nowadays.
Is that still a thing? We would sit around and drink boxes of wine. Merlot. They had that Merlot. We'd sit around and drink Merlot and get fucking wasted on it. And a big old box was like fucking $6.
That's
$4 to
even like kind of
$6.
like a joke / meme thing.
Yeah,
Still
it's like a meme
still
now.
to this day,
Yeah.
like boxed wine.
Yeah. We'd sit around, drink, fucking get drunk, listen to Rasputina.
Drinking boxed wine, listening
Drinking
to
box wine,
Rasputina.
listening to Rasputina, listening to old fucking fucking Death in June and shit.
That sounds fun. We should do that one night. We'll get some boxed wine, put some of our old CDs on.
Yeah, we had that old 90s.
Get some clove cigarettes.
90s internet.
Put some like red like cloths over the lampshades.
Yeah, we had that internet that went when we were starting up. Remember that shit?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we had
Fucking AOL.
AOL.
Bullshit.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
it was another time. I thought I was in the future. I was like, man, I got to shop at Hot Topic from home with this card. Ain't that something? Just like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. It's the fucking future.
Yeah, we're in the future, man. Out there.
Victor says, I drank boxed wine when I was 14 and it made me bisexual.
Made you bisexual.
It might do that. It might
because
do
I
that.
buy you something and then you get sexual.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Camp Guy says they call those wine boxes suitcases.
Yeah.
That's
we
awesome.
have like 6 of them. You don't understand that fucking in the 90s when that shit first hit the market, how cheap that was.
Yeah.
They were fucking cheap. And especially Mississippi prices. Mississippi prices were fucking cheap. And I was just moving down from fucking Boston at that particular time. And I saw that big old box of wine. I think they wanted $4.50 for it. And I was like, $4.50? Shit, get 3 of them. You know what I'm talking
We'll have a box each.
Yeah, we're sitting there fucking get 3 of them bitches. And it was I remember it being good wine. I was enjoying it. I'm
not a real wine connoisseur, I gotta
got drunk
say.
off of it.
You can get decent wine for not really that expensive nowadays. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah, even in a bottle, even in a glass bottle. Everybody's making it.
That's what I'm saying.
But-
Same with like craft beers. You
Yeah.
can get like decent craft beers.
I
for,
was
like, not
never
all
a
that
wine
expensive.
snob. I had a background in sales. I smelled the bullshit when it hit me. And I was like, that wine's not worth what they're asking for. It can't.
Most of them are not.
And that got confirmed later on when I saw a program where they took these wine tasters and blindfolded them and had them taste all this wine, and they couldn't tell the fucking expensive wine from the cheap wine. They were preferring the cheap wine and shit.
Yeah.
And then once I saw that, I was like, yeah, I knew that, yeah. It all made sense. They're a bunch of bullshit artists. It tastes good. Good wine is wine that you like that tastes good. It doesn't matter where it comes from or fucking...
Yeah. I mean...
or what year it was made or anything. It's
Like I
just
said, you
the
go to
wine that you like is the
you
wine
go to
that you like.
Publix and get like a decent bottle of wine
Yeah.
for like $10, man.
Yeah.
It's like you don't really have
Yeah.
to get all like fucking fancy.
And
man.
I would imagine you could probably fucking pour out some boxed fucking Merlot or fucking, Zinfandel.
Like I said, I'm not.
And give that to some of these fucking one of these fancy motherfuckers. Goes, oh, that's fucking beautiful. The bouquet, fucking man, shut the fuck up.
I remember one. I used to watch Penn and Teller's. Thank you, Victor. Jenny, I bought The Church of Dead Girls, but I haven't started it yet. Oh, I hope you like it. I just bought it randomly a long time ago. It was like cheap at Barnes and Noble, because you know how Barnes and Noble has like all those cheap ass like hardbacks in the front, and I was like read it and I was like, ooh, that's a good title, and I was like, oh, that sounds really good. So I bought it. It was like, you know, $4 or something, and I was like, man, that book was like so awesome. I haven't read it for a long time, but I remember it being really, really good. I had never heard of that author or anything, so I really do hope you like it. If you don't like it, don't get mad at me, okay? So I'm just saying.
Cheryl says she got a freezer full of hams. Oh yeah, I can one up you. In my freezer, I got a fucking turkey.
Oh, we still have that turkey? I forgot about
Thanksgiving.
I forgot about that.
I got a turkey and I got another pork.
That's right. You bought 3 turkeys. For Thanksgiving, and we've eaten 2 of them.
Yeah, and I cooked a pork. I cooked a fucking pork butt in a slow cooker, fucking carnita style, last night. Woke up this morning and fucking.
That's right. The whole house smelled like pork
got
today.
It all. Man, we're gonna have fucking badass carnitas.
Because I was like half awake and I heard him getting up and I'm like, why is he going downstairs with no clothes on? What is he doing?
Yeah. Cheryl's talking about ham hocks too. Ham hocks are for really, man. Ham hocks are for your red beans and rice, or your fucking black eyed peas,
or split pea soup.
Yeah, or split pea soup.
Yeah.
Fucking for y'all British people and European people up there in the honky motherland, you will not understand smoked ham hocks. Okay, it's a southern delicacy. It's the wrist of a fucking pig smoked. It's mostly fat and some meat on a bone. But there's some about that particular cut. When you pull it off that bone and you dice it real fine and put it in with black-eyed peas or red beans and rice, it has a bacony flavor to it, and it's got some of it's kind of got some chewiness to it. It's just, it can't be replicated. Smoked bacon can come close, but that's not quite it. It's just a weird southern phenomenon. You know it when you taste it. You go, yeah, that's it right there. And it's best with beans, some kind of a bean. And it's more of a seasoning. We're not doing it to gain meat. There's not much meat there. There's something about the flavor.
Yeah.
That it gives to beans. Black-eyed peas or red beans. Really good.
Victor says when I was talking about the book, if I don't like it, I'm going to send you a payment request on Cash App for $10.
Don't like what?
The book. Because I recommended a book.
Okay.
And you know, I like I said, I haven't read it for a long time. I just bought it randomly, but I really liked it a lot, and I still remember it. I'll review it one of these days because I want to reread it. Camp Guy says, hard to cook for 2 people. Me and my wife throwing food out all the time. I cook it anyway because I like to cook. Don't care if we eat it all or not. Yeah. Honestly, well, usually like Tom will make big portions of things. Like if you're gonna make something, he makes like a big pot of it, but we'll eat it for a couple days and then we'll freeze it.
Yeah, I'll come back to it later.
And then we'll come back to it later because it'll last like a while, like in the freezer, depending on what it is. So sometimes, you know, you'll be going through the freezer and be like, oh man, there's like lasagna in there. I forgot that was in there. You just like heat it up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we don't throw that much away, honestly. No. I mean, we don't waste that much.
I had a broccoli out there growing. Tomorrow, I'm gonna take that package of chicken breast out and dice it, and then batter it and fry it, kind of like General Tso's chicken.
Oh, okay.
With rice. Does that sound good? But instead of it being thigh, it will be breast. How's that sound?
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Don't make it too spicy though, because you know.
Okay. All right. It's gonna be General Tso's chicken. I like to cheat because they're going to use hosting sauce. I got that. But I like it just about 50-50. Smoked barbecue sauce and fucking soy sauce. Yeah, with a little bit of ketchup.
Yeah, we should do sweet and sour.
It's like I can do that, I guess. No, I can't do that.
You can't do that?
No. No, I do. I do have pineapple, but I don't have any maraschino cherry.
Oh. That's right.
If you're gonna do sweet and sour, you want maraschino cherry juice and the cherries. That's really the best.
That's true.
If not, I could do it. I could dumb it down. Just use ketchup and pineapple. That'll do it. But I like the cherries in it.
Yeah, it does kind of have to.
Yeah, it has to be like a bright red. You know.
Yeah.
Gotta get some cherries.
Cheryl says, I love Asian food. Yeah,
I can
me
go
too.
buy some though.
Honestly, I love all kind of food.
Yeah.
It's weird because when I was a kid, I was a real picky eater when I was little. Not to the extent of, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but, you know, Lil Swole, our friend, he's a super taster, so he, like, basically won't eat anything
That has flavor?
that has flavor.
Yeah.
He'll eat, like, French fries, spaghetti, like plain spaghetti, and white pizza? Maybe? Is that it?
Yeah, he'll eat that.
Yeah, that might be all he eats. So, one time, we were at a party, and there was cake, and obviously I'm like, fucking cake? All right, I'm jumping right into that, because it's fucking cake, right? He wouldn't eat, he'd never even eaten cake.
Yeah.
He's like, ew, I don't like the... He's,
Yeah,
like,
like-
weird about texture.
Texture and the way things look.
And the way things look,
yeah.
and he's, like, really, like, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
No cake?
Yeah.
God.
He's got mental problems.
How do you live without
know.
cake?
He'll eat what, popcorn?
Oh yeah, he'll eat popcorn too.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's like white things with not a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
And like, although he did say, I remember like a while back, he said he was really interested to try lobster
Yeah.
because it looked good to him and smelled good.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, maybe we need to get him. See, I wasn't that bad.
Right.
Like, I think it was mostly because I grew up like fairly poor, so we didn't really, so we had like a lot of prepared foods, we had like a lot of, you know, stuff that wasn't really all that good or all that nutritious. So I didn't really get a lot of, you know, we didn't really eat a lot of Asian food, we didn't eat any Indian food, we didn't eat any like thing like that. So when I was a kid, it's basically like, well, you know, I'm going to eat a little bit of meat and some mashed potatoes. And like I said, all the vegetables, you know, were cooked to shit and were slimy. So I didn't want them because they looked and smelled gross.
Well, that was that old school Southern.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, so honestly, like but then when I got older, like when I was a kid, I wouldn't eat tomatoes, I wouldn't eat mushrooms, nothing like that, which are now like two of my favorite things ever. So it's like crazy to think that all of the stuff that I wouldn't eat when I was a kid, and now I'll eat pretty much anything. You even got me over my phobia about peas.
Yeah.
Because I had a thing, I was so grossed out by peas. I couldn't even like,
got her over that.
when I was a kid, I couldn't even like look at them, because sometimes my grandma or my mom would make them. And
Tell them how I got you over that shit.
well, that's what I'm saying. And I was disgusted by them. It's like I didn't like the smell. I didn't like the way they looked. I didn't like their like squishiness. I was just like, even looking at them made me want to hurl. Right? Like for a long time, like from my kid from up until my teenage years. And you know, even when I was in my 20s, I'm just like, no, thank you. I just can't. And honestly, when I went to the UK, because they have mushy peas there. And I went to a British pub one time and got like fish and chips, and it came with mushy peas, and I was like, do not put mushy peas on my plate, because I will not be able to eat the rest of the stuff, because I will be so disgusted.
We'll get to the point.
Well, excuse me. But yeah, no, I'm just trying to like paint a picture.
Okay.
I was really, really grossed out by them. So for a long time, so Tom says, I'm going to get you over that. And I was like, yeah, good luck with that. Because they really, really disgust me. So he made, well, the first thing that you made that really got me over it was split pea soup. He made it in a crock pot.
Yeah.
And he's like, because at first I was like, I'm absolutely
Split
not.
pea soup with real ham.
I'm like, I'm absolutely not eating that.
Yeah, with ham.
But he made it in a crock pot. He's like, it doesn't even look like peas. You know, they're all blended up. It's fine. It's soup. It's got ham in it. It's delicious.
Had a big old ham bone and a bunch
Right.
of diced up fucking ham off a spiral cut ham. It was fucking beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yeah. And so then, like, so I reluctantly was like, okay, I'll try some. We'll see how it is. And it was so good that I was just kind of like, oh, okay. well, shit. I've been missing like all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now it took me a little bit longer to get past like an actual pea in something, because a lot of Indian food has peas in it, and they're not blended up. So it took me a little while to get past that, because I was always kind of grossed out by like biting them and them going chook, and I was just kind of like,
there's no between a pea and a bean. It's the same thing.
Well, I wasn't a big fan of beans either, but I didn't really have the aversion to them that I had.
Covering her face.
Is she?
She's covering her face. Yeah, she's like, oh. Look at her. Look at her over here.
I'm sorry, Pookie.
Yeah.
Are we offending you? She's like, oh my god, you guys. Seriously, I'm trying to sleep over here. You guys are just talking and
Yeah, she's going, oh.
Yeah, she's
trying to rub it out of existence.
She's sleeping in the chair like with her little face.
She's rubbing her face.
I mean, you don't have to sleep there, Pook.
Well,
she's
she
like,
wants to be around us,
yeah, she likes to.
She likes to be around.
Honestly,
she wants to be around.
Yeah. I mean, she, when I work in here in my office, she sleeps in that chair. Like, she sits in that chair pretty much all day.
Yeah. She
just likes being around. And every now and then she comes over and jumps on my desk and sticks her butt in my face. So, she likes to be around. Somebody said earlier, Victor said, I had a cousin who only ate Frankenberry cereal till he was like 12.
Damn.
Did he get like rickets or something like that?
Bad nutrition.
Because I can't imagine that there are any vitamins in Frankenberry cereal. Like, it's really strange, because I kind of feel like, is it a genetic thing that kids are naturally averse to vegetables or anything weird? I don't know if it is, because I've known
the cooking styles of those.
I've known some people that raised their children just eating whatever, and those kids will just eat whatever.
Yeah.
And like people that raise their kids in other countries aren't like weird about, oh, we only have to eat like chicken nuggets like American kids.
It's because we have Southern roots, and Southerners overcooked fucking vegetables. They cooked them they cooked them to slime. It was terrible. Terrible. It wasn't until my dad's generation that they kind of stopped overcooking vegetables. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cheryl says probably keeps them from getting poisoned. I do kind of think that kids are maybe more cautious about different things, but I don't know. I think it depends a lot on the upbringing too.
Our parents in the South were influenced by their parents, and their parents were Depression era.
Yeah.
And they were fucking paranoid of getting sick off of vegetables. Could have been that they were using human waste as fertilizer. I don't know. Maybe that's because they descended from sharecroppers.
True.
So that might have been what was happening.
Or maybe there was an urban legend about that and everybody believed it or something. I don't know.
I think it might have come from the sharecroppers era.
Yeah.
So they overcooked, especially spinach. Spinach was cooked into the fucking slime.
Yeah, my grandma used to do that.
And they did they weren't as bad with collard greens. They were cooked though. And then we had things called Brussels sprouts. And I love Brussels sprouts. A lot of people didn't like them. They're like little bitty heads of cabbage, about the size of a fucking big old gumball. They came with what we call pot liquor, which is the drippings from it. It had bacon in it and fucking water and salt water and butter water.
I mean, you cook anything in bacon fat, it's going to be good. I don't care what it is.
Sat there and ate them fucking Brussels sprouts. I could sit and eat a whole fucking tub of Brussels sprouts.
See,
there's not hardly any nutrition in them.
But the thing about it is that I never ate them because my grandma always boiled them and it smelled like farts.
Yeah.
If you roast them, they're delicious.
If you boil them, they're good too. It's just that your grandmother probably overcooked them.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not supposed to boil them until they're just slime. They're supposed to have consistency and texture to them. Yeah. You know, they're good. It's kind of like cabbage. You know, just like eating cabbage. They're good. Making me hungry talking about this.
I am kind of hungry.
Yeah, we might be able to shut this off.
Because we always end up talking about food.
Yeah.
We need to get back to our like on the menu show one of these days. And it's like we started doing that, and then we did like 6 or 7 episodes, and then we like didn't do it anymore.
How long have we been going?
2.5 hours.
It's about time. Go ahead and shut it down. Go ahead and shut it down.
Tom says shut it down.
Yeah, I'll cook us something to eat.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
What are you gonna make?
I'll get down there and see what we have.
We'll get down
I
there
have
and
all
see
kinds of
what
stuff. Well, the carnitas are done. I can make tacos right now.
Yeah, you can make tacos
You
or
want
whatever.
tacos?
Because we ate the rest of that curry earlier, yeah?
No, I only have one serving of curry left.
Well, I had some of that earlier,
Okay.
so we'll make something different.
I can make tacos.
Oh no, the hunger is happening.
Or I can make burritos. I have a bunch of fucking flour tortillas that I can do.
I think tacos probably better,
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
I don't have any vegetables, but I got cheese and shit. It's all right. It's good.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's all good.
All right. So, thanks everybody for dropping by this evening. I'm just so glad we got through the case. It was like I said, maybe I'll try and keep it to these. But I say that now, but it's not going to work out.
She
these
bites
kind of
off so much more than she can actually chew.
Well,
She'll have a
sometimes I
4-hour
don't really
show.
think about it because sometimes I'm just thinking of because I'm trying to think of topics like to put in the poll.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I don't really think things through, like how much work is this going to be to research?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes that happens, and then I get into it, and I'm just like, "Fuck me, why did I choose this?"
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. So I kind of like this one case because it was short and sweet. We got into it, we got out of it. I covered everything I wanted to cover, so that was nice. All right, so we're gonna go have some tacos, I guess. Thank you everybody for dropping by. Thank you for your super chats, and we will see you guys on Friday evening for the sidetrack show. Probably talking about food again because that's what we always end up talking about. So yeah, we'll see you on Friday evening, and have a very good rest of your night. Bye.